was really funny, or I'm just drunk.
No, it's funny as shit.
Just to take off the edge, whether taking a ditch or swinging a sledge, I drink to ignore how society's crap by the whiskey in me. And I ain't even whack. Now I know how it feels for the rats on the wheel to run for the cheese. So we drink and we drink and we drink some more. And the only thing better than drinking for me is when I'm drinking with you and we're drinking for free.
All right. What? Oh, hey, welcome to. Damn it! Why can't I do an Eros accent? Oh, Clovers. That's good, right? Clovers. That's the thing.
No, that sounded more like you're constipated.
Clovers. Yeah, you're producing until Grant gets back.
Oh,
yeah. So welcome to our Irish Speakeasy episode. We're done with the Irish part of it. That was pretty much it. Let's see here. Oh man, Banana
we're finally
Dave.
over?
No, like I didn't do any more than the intro thing.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Well, you know, I did what I could. Oh man, I need you to do video too. Hey Sherry, I'll do it. I can do it. You're bad at pausing. Anyway, with unfortunately my partner in Clovers, my partner in green beer, my partner in hungoverness, Barber can't be here because he's in England doing England things. And but with me is Grant, who's not actually here. And then there's Yeti. Oh, and Grant's here.
I'm here. Hello. Oh, good. My favorite McCabe's here. Good.
Dude, he was talking so much shit about you, Sam.
I want to know which one's the evil one.
I am. It's the one. It's the one with the facial hair.
I tried to give
that's
him a
what
mustache.
I assumed. That's what I would have put the money on.
Anyway, Yeti's here and Nick's here and Sam's here. Let's get it going though, because so I was gonna get us like go down. I don't think we're ready yet, but we're getting close to being ready for the journey into Scientology. Because I found some amazing videos on it. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, because it's been a while since I've had my e-reading, so I don't know if I'm depressed or not anymore. I can't afford to know. So, yeah.
Dude, those thetans get into you, man.
Well, yeah,
Gotta
well,
get
they
those
do.
thetans out.
Who knew money was the only thing to get rid of it?
Right.
Which was the
That's
problem
all it
was
takes.
because my depression came from not having money. So then I save up money, and then I pay to do the thing to know whether I'm depressed. And it turns out after I spend all that money, I am depressed. So I mean, it's science. It's in the name. Trust the science.
I mean, hey, look, man. Like I don't know what OT level you were at, but once you hit like 13, you're golden.
Yeah, you just need to pay a couple million more, and you're good.
Yeah, I think I was somewhere between -7 and triangle. I think so.
But I'm gonna do a couple of different things special though when we go down that Zemu or Xenu.
Zemu.
Yeah, Zemu. But
Zoltan. Oh, wrong one.
Yeah. we will get to Scientology. Until then though, I wanted to take another look at overly sarcastically person. I forgot what the channel's called. Because this time we're talking
overly in. Oh yeah. Oh, coded villains. I thought it was queer.
Yeah,
coated.
code.
I thought they meant that they were coated in queerness. Like I
Like
thought
an
that was some sort of
M&M.
euphemism. Yeah, like that. They were coded in it, or maybe it was some sort of euphemism for like a bukkake party or something.
Oh God!
Because they were coated in queerness. Is that? I don't know. That might not translate. But well,
That's the first thing you went with.
I mean, it makes sense if you thought it was coding.
I would have went with like donut before I went to bukkake party. Like that's got to be at least
Yeti.
third down the
I don't-
list.
Well, here's the thing. Usually at those parties, there are a lot of donuts. So, I mean, I'm technically still mentioning the donuts. They're just usually
True.
stuffed.
I went with
And
M&M's.
glazed.
Wait,
That's still
glazed?
very
I
glazed.
guess it's kind of
Yeah.
coated. Yeah.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Tom. If you want to come talk about queer coded villains.
Sponsored by Campfire Blaze. Insert flaming joke here.
Wait,
This
what?
video uses the word
We are
queer
way
in a
ahead of
reclaimed
you.
way like a whole bunch. Like I say it more than 100 times. If that upsets you, you probably won't have a good time watching this video, and I'm kind of
Wait, what does he say 100 times?
I did not hear, but I heard we're not going to have a good time watching, and I assume
Warning,
that's true.
this video uses the word queer, in
queer.
a reclaimed way like a whole bunch.
In a reclaimed way.
What?
In a reclaimed
Like,
way.
instead of reclaim, just read pretentious.
Yeah, it's like in what do you call it, Clerks 2. You know, I'm bringing it back, but I'm not going to say that word because apparently that's
Yeah.
racist. Yeah.
bunch. Like I say it more than 100 times. If that upsets you, you probably won't have a good time watching this
More
video,
than
and I'm kind of questioning why you even clicked on it. Okay, here we go.
No.
The Motion Picture Production Code of
Wow, what a weird, jarring, like, transition.
No, we learned that at film school. That's called the Japanese Godzilla smash cut. Very
Oh
common.
my god.
Really? Text of the production code. All right, I always like to read what she puts up because I don't think she does.
I mean, that must be an
I,
old
bel
paper.
I believe
started
it's
to yellow.
about. I believe it's about filming that censorship back in the day, like
Yeah.
in the 1920s and 30s.
Or the 30s.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
whichever.
Yeah, the picture has a fold in it down the middle.
Oh, yeah, it does, huh?
1930, more commonly known as the Hays Code, was a set of self-censorship industry guidelines that basically defined what movies were allowed to do. It covers a lot of ground, but broadly it puts forward and enforces the following three general principles. 1. No picture shall be produced that will lower the moral standards of those who see it. Hence, the sympathy of the audience should never be thrown to the side of crime, wrongdoing, evil,
Huh, okay. That's weird.
or sin. 2. Correct standards of life, subject only to the requirements of drama and entertainment, shall be presented. And 3. Law, natural or human, shall not be ridiculed, nor shall sympathy be created for its violation. And to be honest, I could stop the video here. This right here is the chemical formula for the queer-coded villainy trope.
What,
What a
what?
leap.
Wait a minute.
What?
I don't see any elements in there. That's not chemical coding.
I
Lying bitch. It's not science.
That is such a leap.
I don't even know where to go with that one.
You see,
Like,
the thing is,
immediately.
she's gonna try and make it about one thing, when really the production code applies to all sorts of shit.
Well, and it sounds more like, you know, the start of Puritanism getting into movies. So at the very beginning, when it was, I guess, to the 50s to the 70s, really.
Well, this is in the 30s. Well, there was a reason because people were
Okay,
making
30s.
movies about weird shit. Like they had a dude on a horse. Like for the first one. No, but immediately when like movies were started being made, you know what guys did? They started making porn. Like
Oh, yeah.
immediately. That's just a fact.
Oh,
Between
man.
1934 and 1968, this standard was strongly enforced in U.S.
Hold on. All right. No lowering moral
So-
standards. Plus, this is the formula you were looking for, Grant.
Oh, good. Wait, let me get the pen.
Yeah.
But
Plus-
how does something that happened in the 30s relate to now? Because none of these apply anymore.
I'm sure she's gonna work up to admit it in.
That's a little thing called, for anyone interested, and I'm pretty sure they're not. She's
Oh.
going to try and apply what's called a genetic fallacy, or a fallacy of origin. She's going to say that just because things were one way, that they must still be necessarily that way now.
Right. Well, it's gonna be like
Exactly.
it's gonna so it's gonna be like, and ever since then, it's been a trope in movies that they still haven't gotten away from.
I
You know
do
what I
want
mean?
to point out, I got the end point right, though. I just missed the beginning by 20 years.
By the way,
It doesn't-
so
You don't have to show you're working in school anymore, so technically that's still a pass, Yeti.
Yay!
she's already misrepresenting the Hayes Act or whatever it was called. Because if you look at the third one down, enforce natural law. That is not what it said. It said do not ridicule any type like natural law, human or natural. Remember? It did not
Yes.
say
Yeah,
enforce.
it didn't say anything about enforcing it. It just said at the point of ridicule, you can make commentary on it. You can
Yes.
Just
you can
no
have
ridicule,
an objection
yeah.
to it. But if you ridicule it, then that's what they're objecting to. It's a very similar thing
Yeah.
to what they did with the comics code.
Exactly.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that's right.
She's
That's why
already
you got the living
misrepresenting it.
vampire.
Yep. We are a minute in and she's already misrepresenting the entire basis of her argument.
No
Yeah, I'm sure
sex
she'll-
perversion. I call bullshit on that.
No, that sounds like
See,
a
look,
summarization
no
of what
sex
was said.
perversion
It's a
could
loose
also
term.
mean a lot of things. I mean, it was also prohibited to show on. In the '60s, it was prohibited for a man and woman to be seen in the same bed together until such a point.
Oh,
So,
that's how
mean-
that became a trope too.
Yeah.
Because of that rule. So everybody thought nobody, couples didn't sleep in the same bed. Like, no, they all did. It's just you couldn't show it on TV.
I can't remember who started it. I want to say Fred and Wilma
That's not true.
Flintstone, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, so what it
No,
also did
it would
was
have been the Rubbles. They were down to fuck all the time.
well, it
They were
also led
swingers.
it also led to them using like a train going into a tunnel. Like they would transition into that as
And then
like,
they'd have explosions
signifying.
and
Yeah,
having
having a,
windmills going
Yes,
up and down.
or-
Yeah.
Or fireworks or similar.
right, yeah, signifying like yeah, he got
it's
his.
It's called euphemism. Everybody's familiar with it.
Yeah, like, but that's how that started. So, systematically homophobic, transphobic society.
Well,
Hey,
among
well-
other things like racist, sexist. I mean, why stop there?
You've got to point
First
it
off,
all out.
when this started, I don't think any of them knew about trans, so they can't be transphobic when nobody knew it existed.
And as far as the whole, like against queer people goes, I mean, back in the day, there were some people who didn't even believe that gay, lesbian, bisexual people existed. They thought it was a what do you call it, like a cabaret act.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, because and that was the thing, because all the shows when you had the drags and all that sort of thing and the burlesque shows,
Mhm,
it was
mhm.
all, working class men that were just dressing up. So outside of,
Yeah.
when they were putting on the show, they were just, your regular Joe. So that was a huge thing because I know, like my great grandfather, he didn't even understand. He's like, what do they mean though? But aren't they just friends living together? I went, no, Pop, they're definitely gay. And he never saw it.
Exactly. There are people back in the day. I mean, this is getting really, really old fashioned, but that's it. People back in the day genuinely didn't believe gay or LGBT people didn't exist.
Oh, Grant, I
So,
kind of
don't
wish
know-
your
I don't know if you'd
story.
call that- I don't know if you'd call that homophobic or just unknowing.
I wouldn't necessarily call it homophobic. I'd just say ignorant. That's it.
Yeah. By the way, it's weird how you can have no sex perversion, but yet somehow still have a villain written as queer.
Well, sex
Wouldn't that
perversion
be-
could also mean. I mean, sex perversion could also mean sex out of wedlock to these people. I mean,
Exactly.
It,
Well,
it-
really
it's all,
depends on-
it's really all depending on time.
it really depends on context and the values of the time or the values of the person writing the bloody document. It really depends.
yeah. Well, like
What do you
just
mean
them,
you didn't
like,
do it missionary? That's perverted.
well, like what I'm saying is like they can't like depict like anything like weird sexually. Like, how would they be able to do a villain written as queer?
Exactly. They can't be
And
explicit about
We're gonna
anything.
find out.
And also,
Yes,
we need to
but
know
she's
her
gonna
definition
try,
of
she's gonna
queer.
try.
Yeah. And this also explains why we didn't get that many movies about sailing early in the days.
U.S. film production down to the letter. Your movie could not
Embarrassing.
portray sin or violations
was
of the
good.
natural law.
Whoa. Whoa.
Wait,
what do you
does it
mean?
say sin?
in any kind of
Uh,
sympathetic
Sin to
context,
me
which
could
means if you
include
wanted to put
murder, it could include all sorts of things. Honestly.
Right, but she's quoting it though.
Yeah, but she's trying to make it about one thing when really it's a very broad brush.
Except, didn't it not say violation? It just said, ridiculing it, not
Yeah,
violation of it.
Yeah, we went over
So,
that.
so she's already starting off on a lie because it was supposed to be a violation, ridicule, not violation.
Yes.
I think you got it there, Yeti. Good pick up.
your stuff in your movie, your only option was to put it on a bad guy. The Hays Code also prohibited
What? Why is that? How is that possible?
Wait, what does it mean when it says white slavery shall not be treated?
What?
As in a script treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so what about if you just improv'd it then? If you didn't actually put it in the script?
Oh, I don't know.
That way you'd be able to get away with
Depends.
it.
I mean, you
'Cause
see
there's no
this one
treatment
about like
done.
it says here sex perversion or any inference to it, right? Okay. This line here, any inference to it, assuming she's talking about LGBT people, right? Any inference to it, well, that rather puts her queer coding thing already on the bullshit list because even inferring that someone, or even implying or inferring that someone is gay,
Right.
wouldn't have been
Would be
allowed.
a violation of the Hays
Exactly.
Act, or yeah.
So this whole thing about queer coding is a contradiction in terms if you really
Yes.
think about it.
things like masculine women, feminine men, and interracial relationships. The 30s through 60s. But it's not like the Hays Code invented the idea that these
I
things
don't-
were bad.
I think it
Well,
was
Legolas
really
is a
going
different
on in the
species,
60s.
though. That doesn't count. Legolas is a different species. So
And also, he wasn't in an interracial relationship,
Or
So-
queer.
But,
unless
They
of course,
also-
you count friendship, as a quote unquote relationship. But I don't think that's what she's talking about.
well, wait. So you can't? Is that basically saying that you can't be friends in a movie with someone who's a different race? Because that's a relationship.
I mean, according to this code, I mean, movies like To Sir with Love and the Sidney Poitier movies like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner hadn't come out yet. So
yeah.
Guess who's coming to
You know.
dinner? That's my favorite one.
excuse me,
Yeah.
I slipped.
Oh, was it Mr. Washington? Was it as well? So
Anywho,
The concept that queerness is some kind of unnatural crime or sin instead of just being, a way people can exist is pretty old and well established at this point, but more importantly
What?
than the whole
When?
Well,
When
hang
have
on
you
a second.
established this?
hang on a second.
mean-
The thing is, all of that stuff, if we're talking about pre-1968, right, particularly in the UK, or I assume it's pretty much the same in America as well, but pre-1968, like, homosexual activity or LGBT stuff was illegal. It was actually illegal.
Yes.
So, of course, it wasn't going to be represented on screen. It was an illegal act. It was a crime.
yeah. You think
It's not,
like
it's not now, of course, but that's up until the 60s. I think about 1968.
yeah, it's not like Oscar Wilde would have ever been put in a movie. My God.
No, good God. And he
That
was
would be wild.
I think, wasn't he put in prison for a while?
Yes,
I
he
seem to
was.
remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
he learned some of
Wasn't
his
his-
best work
These
there.
people aren't. The thing is that this chick here is not paying attention to the whole context.
discrimination and criminalization.
She's just trying to point the finger and say, yeah.
Thing. For decades, if not centuries in the US and UK, the most
Wait, hold on. The prevailing attitude was we all know they exist, but we
No, it
refuse.
wasn't.
I don't think a lot of them knew.
No, that's it. They literally didn't know. The belief back in the day was that they either didn't or couldn't exist, except as some sort of as I said, cabaret act before. It wasn't a real thing to people's minds. I mean, I've heard of people, for example, using what's his name? John Inman in Are You Being Served? Perhaps the campus gay man you'll ever meet, right? There were people actually who didn't believe he was gay. He just thought he was a theatrical type. That was it.
Well, even the idea of being gay is not something that has been around for that long in
and
you
then
know
of course
in the bigger picture.
distinction between, and then of course making a distinction between the legal definitions, which
Right.
stipulate, say, homosexuality is a behavior, right? Not an actual life, not an actual lifestyle or an orientation. It's just the behavior.
Well,
right?
like even like in like ancient time, like in antiquity, you know what I mean? It wasn't that like, oh, you can't be gay. It was like, no, don't bang another dude. It wasn't ever like
Greece would disagree.
the idea. No, even then though, it wasn't about being quote unquote gay as we think about it now, right? If you're talking about, you know, boys giving themselves up to older men, it was an honor thing. Like it was almost like out of like societal
it was like a
pressure.
sort of it was a teacher mentor. kind
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly. It wasn't
Mm.
about like this, you know, relationship type of a thing that we
No.
think of now. It wasn't anything like that. It was just banging dudes to, you know, bro down.
It had
There's
very
nothing gay-
different,
nothing
shall
gay
we
about
say,
that.
cultural implications
Nuh-uh.
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they
it
were
wasn't- it
way
wasn't
more
even really until,
hardcore
like, the-
broing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even really till the 80s where it became more of a what do you
Lifestyle?
call it?
Well, people
Yeah,
became more
essentially,
aware.
because-
People became more aware of it because of the AIDS panic
Yeah,
and things like that. I mean, you only got to look at people
Well-
like, say, Freddie Mercury, may he rest in peace. He was
What about him?
oh, spoilers.
That's the thing.
What are you trying to
basically,
say?
Because he was so famous, he drew a lot of attention to it, and of course,
To
stigma
what?
being what it is. Oh, shut up, Mad.
The
Dude, he
next
was
thing you're going to tell me is
drowning He was drowning in pain in Tang.
the next thing you're going to tell me is Elton John was gay too.
Well, he's still alive, bro.
He couldn't have been. He got married to a woman like years ago.
He did. Dude, have you ever listened to Rocket Man? Come on.
Yes, how very
Oh.
metaphorically phallic.
I don't like what you're doing.
Popular attitude towards that sparkling rainbow of human diversity was that it was a thing, sure, but nobody was allowed to
Did you say
acknowledge it. You couldn't be up.
sporking then?
Sporking?
I thought you said the sporking rainbow.
Sparkling.
Sparkling,
sparkling.
yeah.
God, stupid accents.
And just to add on to this thing as well, the idea of the whole "we all know they exist but refuse under any circumstance to admit it," that was literally applied to any form of sex.
Yeah.
People did not talk about sex at all back
No.
in the day. It was seen as vulgar, rude, private. You know, it was not
Yeah,
something
like-
people talked about. Period.
You wouldn't even acknowledge like your wife's existence. Like, oh, that person, don't worry about that person. Moving on. Let's talk about men stuff. You know what
Good
I mean?
old days.
Yeah,
So,
right.
how is your sex life?
Very funny, Mark.
Front or overt about queer tendencies, those were private and shameful, and you would be super arrested and punished if you were caught being queer too loudly. It's not that these identities didn't
I mean,
exist
but
or
that's,
weren't
that's
known
the same
about,
for
it's that they were
heterosexual things as well, though.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because even
it's
public
mostly
displays of affection were considered to be deviant behavior.
well,
Yeah,
exactly.
bro.
You can't go around kissing just anyone. You know, it's like, oh god.
Did
This
you see
woman-
that? She kissed her husband goodbye. What a whore.
Yes. Did you know I saw a man in the street the other day was kissing a woman that wasn't his wife? Who was it? His mother.
It would have been alright, except that she used a lot of tongue.
Oh.
They are a very close family.
geared, actively punished, or
Was her
most
last name
commonly referred
Oedipus?
to with obfuscating polite euphemisms to discreet.
No,
All
but
right.
that's what he did that night.
Listen,
He ate a puss.
I hate the misuse of that. Fucking Sigmund Freud. Like the whole complex or whatever it is. Like, oh, you want to bang your mom? Like,
The Oedipus complex.
yeah, well, yeah, that's almost the exact opposite of what happens in that story, right? He leaves so he doesn't have it happen. It's just by chance that he comes across his real father, kills him, and then bangs his real mother without any knowledge whatsoever
Yeah. Yeah.
that it's his
and
mom.
Soul Assassin's
I mean,
got
yeah,
a good
it's-
one here.
There's
Showing ankle was a
stories
sign
all-
of a whore. Well,
Oh, true. Yeah.
apparently back in the day, so was wearing red.
Yeah.
Red was the color
Yeah,
of a
but that's
slut.
why it was called the Scarlet Color. You know.
Exactly.
Well,
You had
she
to wear
deserved
something
it.
like blue or white to be thought of as pure and virginal.
Well, definitely white. Oh, that's why she's white. She's abiding by the code. Look at her. She's completely dressed in white.
Yeah, but those
Yeah,
red
she's
eyes.
just
though.
sitting on those red chair that
Her eyes are red.
that's just pure slut, right?
Discreetly imply that someone was queer without making any concrete statements that would violate the sweeping agreement that these people's very existence was fundamentally indecent, embarrassing, or otherwise a problem to be covered up or fixed. Men weren't gay, they were confirmed bachelors. That woman isn't partnered with that man because they're mutually covering up their own queer identities by giving each other plausible deniability while seeing people they're actually attracted to on the side. They're just in a lavender marriage.
What?
I mean, I've heard of a white marriage, but not a lavender marriage.
I've
That's
heard of
new
a
one.
beard.
Do you get it? Because lavender is purple and purple is the gay color.
I did not know that.
Okay.
No, didn't know. I thought the rainbow was a gay color.
See, I thought
No, that's
purple
the
was a
gay symbol.
bisexual color. You know, blue and pink being bisexual lighting. Anyway,
Wow.
Those
Oh,
two
look at you
independently
coming in
wealthy
here with
new
your facts about color palettes and everything.
Ooh, I paid attention in art class in 4th grade.
this is not obscure.
Well, I couldn't
knowledge,
pay
everybody
attention in
knows
art
this.
class because my teacher was a pedo. True story. He actually was.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh dear.
I was one
New
of the
England women aren't-
undesirables, so I was fine.
Did that make you feel bad? Did
he
you
still didn't pay attention to you.
did you develop a
Well, I
complex
was-
because you were never?
No, I mean it's not like I go out and seek older, art people to, fulfill my life or anything like that. It would have been nice to have been included in a group activity. Is all I'm saying. It was hard.
Like,
enough
you don't
when
want
you're-
it to
when you're
happen.
alone.
Yeah, you
No,
don't
I
want to
don't want
like
it to happen.
have it. No, but they
I just
offer
want, I, just
for
want,
it to
I want to be in a
happen.
situation where I can turn it down.
Yeah, exactly. I get that.
Now he just wonders if he wasn't good enough.
Oh no, I knew I was good enough. He just had bad taste.
living together because they're lesbians, they're just in a Boston marriage. That woman who never seemed interested in
What?
getting married or settling
A Boston marriage is where two wealthy lesbians live together.
Okay, I've never heard of that before today.
Nor have I. I've just
know,
heard that
I-
I've just heard it known as white marriages because they don't have any sex, or at least not in the conventional sense.
I
Wait,
thought
what
that was
is-
the thing that only happened in Massachusetts.
She's a spinster?
down
spinster,
isn't
yeah, so-
asexual or aromantic or a
It's
lesbian. She's a
an old woman who
spinster.
lives
That
alone,
guy who
Yeah.
Well,
who never got married.
spinsters were actually a thing. I mean, this dates back in the day when 25.
There was a title. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was like 25 was seen as old. This comes from back in the day when people only lived till about 50. So, being 25 and unmarried was seen as old and on the shelf.
What? Okay,
You know?
so that's not entirely. So the reason why the average lifespan was so low is because of a high mortality rate in birth.
Yes. Not to
That-
mention a lack of hygiene.
And war.
Like if you look at like Samuel Whitmore, hero of the Revolutionary War, he was like 97 when that kicked off. Like he was old as shit. You know what I mean? There were old people everywhere. It's just
Not
you know.
anymore. China
thank
took care of
God.
that.
I was, of course, only referring to average lifespans back in the day. But anyway.
Right? Yeah. No. But what I was saying was like it's misleading because of the high mortality rate. Of,
Yeah, so it skews lower because of that.
yeah.
publicly
Look
Look at
stated he
me.
was
Look at me dropping knowledge and shit.
bisexual was probably just joking. This person who dressed and lived publicly as a man their whole life and took great pains to make sure nobody found out they weren't assigned male at birth wasn't a trans
Wait.
Oh, not
Uh,
assigned. You are. There's no.
See, this is what I don't get about
is that
the
a
people
dog?
who
A dog's
this is
probably
what I
dead
don't get
now.
about the people who do this whole self-ID crap. The idea I am what I am because I say I am. They sure really love assigning other people's identities. That's the thing that gets me. Like, okay, how can you call someone trans or non-binary or whatever when they themselves did not identify as such? It's up to them to identify
Oh my
themselves,
God.
not you. Anyway,
Guys, go through the chat. I gotta go get something to drink. Who was it that said something about Yeti being white? How would you see it? Because, by
Someone
the way, guys,
mentioned
I
Yeti
can't
being
see
white
the
in the chat.
chat. I can't see the chat, like, because I'm doing the video thing. So if y'all see things, highlight it. Talk
I
about
have
it.
been.
Well, no one's brought it up, so I could hear it. I have no idea what's happening.
I don't know.
Like, here, I'll show you. It was way up here. Here we go.
Are you pointing somewhere or? Oh,
I got highlighted it myself.
oh,
I'll be right back.
oh, that was ages ago. So was it? Yeti is already white though. Could you even see the load? Oh, Yeti, it's a question for you.
Thanks, Yeti. So
Thanks-
glad you're
Thanks for
here.
participating.
Now I feel nervous about going to get something to drink.
Yeah, you should. You should go to the oven again. See what happens.
Man, that's not cool.
I know. I felt bad afterwards. It's a gut reaction. I can't help it. You're right to keep playing then, Yeti.
Pardon me.
Oh wait, did Yeti go?
he must be AFK. If he's muted, he might
Oh,
be
it's
AFK.
okay. So yeah, I think everyone in that pitch is probably dead. There's a good chance. Of
Yeah,
that.
pretty good guess, I should imagine, including the dog.
Yeah. Oh, even the dog. Oh, now I feel bad. What was this picture supposed to be representing anyway? To these people were
I think
apparently
it's supposed
assigned
to
gender at
represent.
birth.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to represent a quote unquote trans person. I
But which one?
have no idea.
The black guy, the white guy, or the dog?
As I said, I
Is
can't
it a
keep
dog?
track of all this. I can't keep track of all this stuff because 1 minute, oh, the only person who can identify their gender is you, and yet everyone else seems to be, saying, oh, this person's trans or this person's non-binary. It's like, if they didn't self-identify as such, leave them alone.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
That's why I can't really be doing. I can't be doing with that. A whole assigned at birth thing, as if doctors go, that thing there, that amorphous blob, is going to be a boy, and then
Yeah, but when does it ever go
Suddenly-
the other way? That's the thing. It's not like it's saying that it's assigned means that it's down to the doctor to choose. When does it ever the situation come up where it's just gone?
See,
Well, they
It
saw my
doesn't.
female penis.
I don't think these people have ever stepped into a delivery room at all.
no, but the
Or
thing
even
is, they're also
perhaps
failing to
spoken to a
distinguish.
doctor.
Nikki, they're failing to distinguish between sex, which is observed, not assigned, observed, and
Alright.
gender identity, which is all to do with the social performance and stuff. Right?
Mhm.
They
yeah,
can't
I'm not going
distinguish.
to highlight that, Marby.
Yeah, they can't distinguish between it because it puts a little crimp in their little ideology. That's all.
Yeah,
Well, no,
because
no, I think-
when you start bringing up sex and everything, then trans people will actually have to acknowledge they were born a certain way and now identify and present as another.
But it's a
That-
sneaky way of doing it, because if you can get them to change the language and the meaning of that saying that was assigned, therefore they've now changed hard science. There's a
If I might-
prerequisite to
if I
do
might
that
bring
in the
it back
future.
to like the whole language thing. This was brought up
Yeah.
in a Zoom call for my editing and publishing course just today. Actually, they were talking about say for example we use the word dog in English
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
in French
I've
you
used
use
that.
chien or something like that. You'd use another word in another language, meaning that the word is not inextricably linked to the thing. It changes depending on who's speaking, and its context changes depending on who's speaking. And I completely understand that, but the thing that these gender ideologists don't quite get is that just because you change the word for something, just because you say, oh, this word doesn't actually mean anything, or it's all socially constructed, all language is socially constructed, by the way, doesn't actually mean that the thing to which it's referring does not exist.
I mean,
Exactly.
I likened it to two different soft drinks. Like, you can have a bottle of Coke and a bottle of lemonade, for instance. You can say, oh, language is a social construct. I'm going to completely switch round those labels. The thing is, it doesn't change the contents of the bottles, And
True.
I think that's what these people,
Well,
a
this
lot of
is-
people are
Well, I
confusing.
mean, you're
This
only
is
you're only
kind of
saying
what-
that
Get rid of
because you
those
want to sign a
labels
lemonade
as
at birth.
well,
Yeah, this is kind of what they were talking about. The idea of, yes, I get that language is a social construct. All language is a social construct if you think about it. But
Yeah, it's
that
all made
doesn't-
up.
You can change. Yeah, it's all made up. Of course, it's all made up, right?
Yeah,
that
but we
doesn't
still
mean that-
agree
that-
on certain principles of things.
Exactly, I
point.
agree, right?
But
Of course,
but
we
what
do.
if it's Schrodinger's bottle?
But again, oh, we're not getting into that. That's
Oh
kind
come
of
on,
debatable.
that was
pussy.
good. That was
Ah.
good.
I
But
guess.
yes, but my point is, like, you can change the words all you want. You can say, oh, for example, a penis isn't male or female, it just is. Yeah, but just because you take away the word or the meaning or change the word or meaning doesn't actually stop that thing from existing. Right? So use the word man or woman or whatever. I know that seems confusing. I hope everybody gets it. But
No, yeah, we get it. Like
Yeah.
you can call fire whatever you want, but you're still gonna get burnt.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
By
I
the
like
way-
I like Nick's bottle metaphor. I think it's good. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing. You
because
could
you can change the labels up. You can even take the labels away, like non-binary people try and do.
Yeah,
But it
and that
doesn't stop the
Schrodinger
content
reference
of
you
the
did,
bottle
Sam, was
being
very
what it
clever.
is,
Well done.
Oh, that was
Oh
Yeti.
God, you son of a bitch.
By the way, you guys
All
are
credit
missing.
to Yeti. All credit to Yeti.
Ugh, gross. By the way, you guys are missing like the weirdest thing about this. Is that a goat?
I thought we'd agreed it
No,
was a
No,
goat.
that's it.
I wasn't here for that. I think it's a goat, bro.
Oh, I forgot to put a goat in my latest video. Oh man, that's the first one.
God, I hope
What
you're
are
not
you
making a poll.
talking about?
Oh, I always have a goat in my videos. Always.
I-
It's a thing.
Really?
Yeah, there's a screaming goat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well.
Anyway, we sort of
We got it.
deviated a little bit. We're just sort of we were going off on how the assigned at birth thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
was
caught
just-
all that. It was just the goat
Yeah, it's
thing.
just maintaining that I don't think these people have ever visited a birthing room.
Well, the
or
thing is,
even talked to an actual
they
doctor.
really need to. The thing is, it's all ideological. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's
Yeah,
all
and
ideological.
I
And the
actually
thing is,
agree with that too,
if they
because
thought-
you know full well they will misgender and dead name and all the horrible things to people who don't
They'll
agree
even
with them.
misgender it as well.
well, I mean, look at I look
If you
I look at this is an example of people just kind of looking at things and being very selective, right? Look at Stieg wouldn't be happy about this, but look at Queen Christina of Sweden, right? Famous lesbian, right? She took female lovers all over the place, and there are people theorizing that she may have been non-binary or trans or whatever simply because she dressed in men's clothes, when there is an actual explicit reference saying that, yeah, she might have been more masculine than some women, right? But she actually confirmed in one of her letters is like, no, I am most definitely a woman, right?
She just likes dressing up as a man. That's it.
Exactly.
Not only that, because
And,
not only that, when she was around other men, it intimidated them. That was the point
That
of it.
too,
It was a
yeah.
power play.
And she also
Yeah.
thought many of the women, not all of course, but many of the women she hung out with were vapid and stupid.
I kind of like this chick.
She valued intelligence. But anyway,
Yeah, she was a man's
we-
man.
we can get going.
It just goes to show how people will just sort of
Manipulate.
manipulate and put labels on anything in a slightly hypocritical turn for people who are supposed to not like labels. But anyway,
All right. We can get going. Let's see what else you
Sorry.
got.
And maybe they were just really committed to going to medical school. It's not automatically this queer thing, so it's totally kosher. It's all about
A veneer of deniability, aka the
Wait,
closet.
what does
shielded-
kosher have to do with anything?
Wait, she just disproved her own point because the person was doing it to go to medical school, not because they actually thought they were a man. Did no one else hear
that's
that?
true.
Or
No,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
said
no,
no, but she said it sarcastically. Like,
actually,
Well,
Soul
she
Assassin makes
sucks
an
at
interesting
sarcasm.
point. bringing up the famous pirates Mary Read and Anne Bonny. They were thought to be gay. They just dressed as dudes and tails. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't one of those women actually plead her belly so as not to get a stay of execution?
Yeah, it was Mary Read, wasn't it?
She obviously did it with somebody, you know.
Well, so I was trying to look up, like, see if I can see anything definitive about pirates, because there was this whole thing about them all being like super gay and queer.
Dude, they just love booty, and people got that mixed up with language. That's all it was.
No, but every
people not familiar with the phrase. Are these people not familiar with the phrase "gay for the stay"? I mean, they might swing that way on the ship, but the moment they get into port, you know.
Well, so I couldn't find anything going against this whole narrative of like their like pirates was queer. You know what I mean? Like it's
really hard to find articles disproving something. It's like someone putting out an article saying water is not made up of dirt. They're not going to try and prove a negative because you can't. Like they weren't gay. Otherwise, there would be articles clearly about
the
it all the time, and it would have been known.
Thesis trumps the negative.
Yeah. Well, you can't prove a negative. That's the problem.
Exactly.
So one of the things that they use as their basis for this is, that they had gay marriage, is that they would enter at this contract, right? Where if one of them dies, the other one gets all their stuff, right? And they even say like, now it started out as just an agreement, but then it turned into gay marriage. Like, no, it didn't.
I would love to hear what these wokies think of things like tontines.
Right, exactly.
They're going to equate tontines with marriage now?
Well, so it was just crazy because like my first thought was like, my first thought was like, wait a minute, like I feel like a lot of this has to do with like the way people talked about pirates back then. Like if you think of Napoleon, right? You have the Napoleon complex. The dude was like tall as shit. You know what I mean? It's just they were fucking with him and they were like, oh yeah, he's short. He's like 4'3", because it messed with him. It like he hated it, right? He's like, no, I'm like 6'11". I don't know how tall. I'm just saying, right? Like he was tall. And I think like, I mean, if you're like,
about 5,
you know what I mean?
5'10", 5'11", as far as I'm aware.
Well, like people would be like, oh, dude, you don't want to join the pirates. What do you, they've like, you know, they're going to screw you as soon as you get on there. Like that's the first thing that happens if they go for the booty. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Then again, I would have thought it was sort of an earlier version of the whole prison stereotype.
Yeah, that's not a stereotype, bro. All right, we go on.
Got the plausible deniability, baby. Basically all this to say that while queer identities have always existed and always been known to a degree, until very recently the prevailing attitude was that they had to be kept secret and private, and any kind of publicly visible queerness had to be smacked down as harshly as possible. This attitude manifested in lots of different...
went with any form of sexuality, not just
she's just repeating herself here.
What these, queer tendencies are. Because so far as I know, most gay people are, you wouldn't know them, you wouldn't be able to pick them out on the street. They just are human beings, I mean,
I want to clarify that most normal gay people.
Different ways. Some people treated it like a sin that people had a religious obligation to oppose in all its forms, while some people took the slightly more charitable attitude that it wasn't inherently a problem as long as they kept it quiet and consensual and not in my backyard and don't ask, don't tell. Of course, in practice, this was not true. For instance, Alan Turing and Oscar Wilde were both famously punished absolutely horrendously for private consensual relationships with other men. And while Turing was a very private guy,
Well, Oscar Wilde's people may have been a little on the young side.
Oscar Wilde was a pretty flamboyant dude. I mean,
yeah, he was. By the way, and people loved him, you idiot. Like, don't bring him up as your like when he did a tour of America, people fucking like loved him. They're like, who is this dude? He is cuckoo bananas. You know what I mean? Like
and let's not forget earlier examples. I mean, you get writers like, say, Christopher Marlowe or even William Shakespeare are thought to be bisexual. I mean, come on, man.
What was the whole thing with Oscar Wilde? Like, somebody asked him, like people are saying that you were like not dancing around, but like skipping around with a daisy in your mouth, and he was like, it doesn't matter whether or not I did it, What matters is that people think I did, right? Like America was just fascinated with this dude when he came over here. So for you to bring him up like, oh man, they had to knock down the queers. Like, dude, no, Oscar Wilde was very, very popular.
Oscar Wilde is kind of famous for being flamboyant and a historical queer icon, but even he kept his actual queer relationships on the
But
DL.
flamboyant
you
isn't the
talking
same as being
about?
queer.
Of course he would have. Of course he would have. As anyone would have, straight or no. Right? That's the thing.
Dude.
A lot of people kept their shit private because that was the done thing. We don't all go around blabbing about our personal lives like we do today.
He could not have been more obvious if he wasn't, banging a dude on like in the middle of the street, like
in his own way. Yeah, that's true.
in every way.
But still, flamboyant doesn't mean queer.
No,
There's
not
plenty of
necessarily.
flamboyant people.
Yeah, but he was. He was.
Yeah, okay, I know he was, but using this flamboyant term
See, she's going
to automatically mean queer,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Well,
she's the type of person who will say, like the phrase queer coding. This is what I mean by saying, okay, just because someone's flamboyant, she's going to use that as queer coding. It's like, no, just because someone's flamboyant doesn't make them gay.
Yeah,
Hold on. In her defense, though, she is using it to describe Oscar Wilde, who was gay as gay could be.
True,
You know what I mean?
true.
So she's specifically using it for Oscar Wilde, which is appropriate. So let's be. I'm trying to be fair about this. Good faith,
Possible, actually taking the Marquess of Queensberry to court for libel when he accused him of sleeping with his son, which by all accounts Wilde was doing. Unfortunately, during that case, Wilde's gay relationships were exposed by a team of private detectives which flipped the case on its head and turned the whole trial into a sham.
Yeah, they told him not to do this, man. They told him not to do.
After which his life was basically systematically destroyed. First, he denied everything, but when he was arrested and tried after pleading not guilty, he ended up undercutting himself by delivering a heartbreakingly beautiful defense of the love that dare not speak its name, and how that kind of love between two men is perfectly natural, beautiful, and noble, dating back to ancient Greece, and it's not the fault of the love that the modern world doesn't understand it. It was unfortunately kind of the opposite of a legal defense, and he ended up doing 2 years of hard labor and was never the same afterwards, actually dying shortly after his release. This is a very long and depressing way to say that the real-world social context for the core
Wait, in real life, social context for queer-coded villains. Well, we're not even there yet. Queer identities are knownish, but are not directly acknowledged. Oblique, polite references that aren't explicit confirmation are semi-accepted. Confirmed queer behavior is entirely unacceptable and harshly punished. Hays Code forbids sympathy with sin. That what?
See, I think Ken Jack Ben sums it up nicely. They're conflating discrimination and a lot of other things with keeping things private. So, yeah.
corpus of literature that created the queer-coded villain trope was an environment where queerness was known and acknowledged as what amounted to an open secret, but the minute the social contract was violated and queerness was publicly acknowledged or exposed, it was violently punished for being indecent, unnatural, or wrong, despite demonstrably being none of those things. God, calling someone out for public indecency when you had to hire a team of private detectives to find them out would be so funny if it hadn't ruined so many lives. So, this is the fertile soil that gave rise to the Hays Code, which put down on paper the principles that most people had been operating on for decades already.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait, no, this isn't what it actually said. This is somebody's summarizing it. I don't.
People were impressionable, media influenced reality, and it was very important for that media to be ideologically pure so as to promote good morals and traditional values and buzzword.
By the way, is that such a I know like the negatives about it, but like, is it that bad that they were like, no, we should promote good morals and traditional, like, you know what I mean?
I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing at all. I mean, consider that back then they did not have the hundreds or thousands of television channels
Right.
we have now. They don't even have YouTube or Netflix or whatever. They had
Yeah, they
maybe
were stuck with Hulu.
1 or 2 channels,
Yeah.
and that's it. And that had to be for everyone.
Yeah, there was none of this. There was none of this representation nonsense. What you got was what you got.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even talking about representation. I'm talking about it had to be literally family friendly.
No, I know. That's
know,
what I mean. It was literally
little
for
kids,
everyone.
Little kids, right to grandma. It had to be acceptable for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, between this and the prevailing attitude towards queerness, popular media gave queer identities the same two options that reality did: hide their existence as much as possible, or expose their existence and suffer. With the added moralistic flavoring that queerness was an inherently evil or sinful thing that could not be glorified under any circumstances, the
Wait, no, but it couldn't be shown, period.
wonderful world of fictional moral absolutism meant that your heroes could not be queer in any way, but your villains could.
No, that goes against the Hayes Act. Because you can't show it.
As I said, you can't show it, nor can anybody infer it.
Right.
Also,
that was also a part of it. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what she's doing, which is inferring, not implying, there is a difference. What she's doing, which is inferring, wouldn't have been allowed.
As
Maybe
long as
so
they were
have
suitably
examples.
punished in the end. From this primordial media soup arises the queer-coded villain in all their glory. Everything taboo and indecent in reality embodied
Hold on, I gotta read this. Presenting the queer-coded villain, an antagonist characterized with a set of stereotypes associated with queer identities, frequently camp,
Well, at least she said stereotypes.
flamboyant, dramatic, hypersexual, or how
Promiscuous?
could they be hypersexual during this time?
Well, they can't. That's it.
I mean, are they
Maybe she's not
hypersexual
talking
to
about
one
this time.
particular gender, or
Well,
are
but they couldn't be
hypersexual
though.
to the same sex?
No,
They
it
can't
doesn't
be
matter.
Hypersexual at
The
all.
thing is, they can't be hypersexual at all, especially
No.
if it's queer coded. Coded means,
Exactly.
what's the word?
It's
Inferred.
written a certain way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
inferred. It's inferred. It's not. It's
But
not.
you're not allowed to
you know,
infer.
outward.
Exactly. You're not allowed to infer. You can't even
Yeah.
do that.
And there's a difference between
So
implied and
it
inferred.
kind of blows her argument out of the water, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
totally unsubtly on the silver screen. Men who are visibly effeminate, women who are visibly
So
masculine,
predatory.
villains who are
Most bad guys are predatory. That's why they're the antagonists of the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they steal money, they kill people, they do all sorts of evil shit.
Oh my god, Hans Gruber's gay confirmed.
actively hypersexual, acting in publicly suggestive ways towards people who their attraction to is totally unacceptable. This media made no distinction between traits that were currently socially unacceptable and traits that were fundamentally evil, so villains got their pick of the pack while heroes tended to be extremely bland. But the Hays Code really only lasted about 30 years, and near the end there it was already being pretty thoroughly lambasted because it was,
Then why put
stupid.
a whole
It held
segment
all of
on it?
America.
So you've just made your whole point
nearly.
irrelevant.
Well, because
If you're
watch
saying
the
that's how it
next,
was, but you just said things are different now.
but no,
Like,
like
that's-
here comes the second part where she's like, however, this thing is still done today.
Okay, so just like when Mad bends over, here comes the big butt. I got it. All right.
Yes.
American cinema to the moral standard of a Care Bears episode, not to mention it treated audiences like gullible morons who would see an ounce of moral complexity on screen and become so tilted it'd lead to the immediate downfall of civilization.
Sweetheart,
And from their perspective
this is because A, there were only 3 TV channels, and B, there were children watching.
what
You
Which
defines
have to
means
make,
civilization
no
and
sex
you have to make
at
for it
all.
for everyone. Yeah, no sex at all, not even an inference of it.
No
There are
real
children
violence
watching.
either.
No violence either, nothing. Because there are children watching, or potentially children watching.
Yeah, they were thinking about the children.
Will someone think of the children?
Plus, like, who wants those gays on our TVs?
might have been right. Forcing an audience to exclusively consume media that conforms to a fundamentally false moral dichotomy is pretty much the only way to keep that audience buying that moral dichotomy. If movies
There
were allowed
wasn't
to
no
show queer
moral
characters
dichotomy,
that
that's the
weren't evil
point.
villains,
She's changing that. She's saying that what's going on there now is coming up to this, which has nothing to do with it. The reason
No,
why it's
yeah.
no
nothing at
longer
all.
used because it was abolished. It's the same reason about bitching the comics code in modern comics now. They have nothing to do with each other. Yes, they both existed together at one time, but they are not they are not mutually linked in everything.
Yeah. This is what I meant before about calling it a fallacy of origins or a genetic fallacy. She's trying to use the way things were.
Oh, I thought you
to
said a
justify the way
phallus.
things
Sorry,
are.
I was thinking about something else.
Fallacy. Yeah, make that clear. Fallacy, not phallus, even though it's apt. Yeah, that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to associate something that was in the past, i.e., the Hayes Act or whatever it's called, the Hayes Code, and try to relate it to what's going on right now. And in most cases, it bears absolutely no relation whatsoever. She's just trying to make one up.
It's like, people are like, oh, dude, the Cowboys suck, man. They haven't won since 1995. Like, this is not the same team from you know what I mean? Like, there's a pretty high turnover ratio.
Just because
Because if you had the team from 1995, they would actually at least win 1 or 2 games a season.
Fuck off.
It's like, just because things were some kind of way in the past doesn't mean they are that way now.
Yeah. By the way,
and she's trying to say that, and it's not working.
So what she's bringing up here also goes against her whole point. The whole idea that, like, well, maybe if they, showed queer characters that weren't evil villains, it might make the audience think that being queer is okay, whatever, right? Okay. But that would also mean that it justifies the whole idea that they wanted to keep it as bland and as morally good as possible, because
Ken Jack Ben's got a good example. I mean, we've mentioned the whole couples on television sleeping in tween beds, but look at, say, Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie, right? She couldn't even show her navel on television.
Oh, that whore.
Right? So, whether this chick in overly sarcastic productions wishes to acknowledge it or not, everyone was held to a standard, queer or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for
So it might
Bewitched,
make
she
the
was
audi-
lucky enough to get 2 dicks, so...
Yes,
So...
think that being queer was actually totally fine and harmless. And hey, look where we are now. Progress. Most people agree that the final nail in the Hayes Code coffin was Some Like It Hot, a wildly successful comedy where 2 musicians dress in drag to escape the mafia and end up in a whole mess of gender-bending romantic shenanigans completely unacceptable by the Hayes Code standards. In the final scene of the movie, one of the musicians exasperatedly reveals to his smitten would-be suitor that he's a guy, to which the man replies, well, nobody's perfect, and keeps driving. But yeah, the Hayes Code gradually...
Wait, hold on. That's just a funny joke. That's a good bit. That is not like, see? He was accepting of feminine or masculine
watching
penises.
the film, it was made perfectly clear that these 2 men are men and they're straight and they have a reason for dressing up as women. They're not queer, quote unquote queer. Oh, God. Now, that guy right at the end who says nobody's perfect, you may be able to say something for him, but
it was just a good joke.
Yeah.
I mean, that could also go to the fact that he's a very lonely man.
Well, and also sometimes a joke is just a joke.
Yeah, true.
No, sometimes a joke is a big raging penis. Oh, I know that's cigars. Sorry, that's cigars. I get those mixed up. My bad.
He faded into obscurity, but that doesn't mean the tropes it fostered just went away. The queer-coded villain trope that grew in this basic moralized environment persisted even after the social context that created it began to wither. 1969 saw the turning point of the Stonewall riots, while the 70s saw the...
By the way, the Stonewall riots had nothing... Like, okay, the reason why that bar was raided by the cops that night had nothing to do with they were being gay. It was being ran by the mafia, and the FBI had to come in because they were paying off the local cops. So the FBI had to come in and force them into doing this raid on them.
You know what these people are like, Matt. They love to assign ulterior motives to people.
Yeah, it just so happens. Like that was one of the things about the mafia was like they would run these gay bars because they didn't give a shit. They're from Italy. Like they didn't give Italy's gay as in of itself. But
it's like we use olive oil and everything, so it doesn't matter.
I'm just saying, like it.
The first organized pride parades, and
And
broadly
also,
heralded the beginning of
it's
the
the sort
transition.
of thing where people, they know that no one's going to go around and go, oh, by the way, I'm going to this bar. This is a new cool bar in town.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
kept
It's a
hidden
perfect
for a
honestly, it's
reason,
perfect
and they're willing
criminal
to spend a
front.
shitload on drinks.
Exactly. It's a perfect criminal
Because
front.
back then, rupees were hard to
Mhm.
get.
So hard.
transition to where we are now. Queer identities being publicly acknowledged and celebrated has become the mainstream attitude, while bigotry is
Oh, could you
considered the
scroll quicker,
embarrassing,
please?
unfortunate reality best
Huh?
I was just asking her if she could scroll quicker, please. Like, this
Hey,
is
another
no,
monster.
Of course,
How's
this
it
is
no
going?
proof. I'm going to go past it really quick.
Wait, public acceptance of queer identities is slowly becoming the expected norm. It is not slow at all. The jump that we have
I
made.
would argue it is definitely the expected norm, and anyone
Yeah.
who strays from it gets screamed at.
No, dude, I'll go farther than I think it's the expected. We expect it of ourselves as a society to, not be like all those things that we heard that were bad in the 50s and, when it comes to that sort of
Mhm.
stuff.
There's a long way to
I-
go. Wow.
I kind of want to contradict her there. Like she's saying that, gay acceptance is normal and everything. Well, the way these activists carry on, you'd think we're all still living in the 1940s and 50s.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's
that's
because
still
they
a
have to
lot-
have an
yeah.
enemy.
They
Yeah,
have to,
exactly.
exactly.
They have to have an
As
enemy,
I
and
said,
they have
movements, as I said,
uh,
religious movements and things like that, or semi-religious ones. Yeah, remember what I said before? They don't need their god as much as they need a devil. They need a bad guy.
Yeah, you can't
Well-
fight a holy war without a devil to slay.
Yeah,
and that's
I mean,
the
I
fact of the
totally
matter
agree
is.
with that. And you'd think with the way these people carry on.
Oh,
I'm
by the
talking about
way,
the activists here. Hang on,
by
hang on
the
a
way,
sec.
Nick,
Hang on. Bloody hell. I'm talking about the activists here, but I'm talking about the activists in particular. The way they carry on, you'd think the world is on fire, but really it's just you just want to tell them to calm the fuck down.
Well,
Oh,
they,
Nick.
they haven't seen actual adversity, so
have you?
Yeah,
this
and
is the toughest
Let's
thing
give my
they've ever
bottom dollar
faced.
They haven't.
Just in response to another monster's comment, Nick, have you got a bit of Vegemite smeared over your neck?
Oh my God.
Not at the moment, I'm afraid.
But
Yes, you should get some. You should get some.
did you? I mean, just think about this. Like yesterday, the 16th, I think, maybe the 15th, was the day of like recognizing pay inequality for women. Like, and they're still going with like women only get paid 85% of what men. That's illegal already.
Yeah,
if you're
that's
getting paid
illegal.
85% of what somebody else is making, you should, like, I don't know, say something. By the way,
Yeah.
And you have the thing is, what these people forget is that they actually have legal recourse. If you can actually prove that you are being unfairly paid, you can sue.
well, it's more than that though, because the statistics that they use for that from the website, right? If you just scroll like over to the right, you'll see the next chart, which it compensates everything for different like for job choice, for
Lifetime
vacation,
earnings.
everything, right?
When
And
you-
it's
When you take into account every single factor from different job choices, hours worked, holidays taken,
it jumps up to 98.
maternity leave, and so on, the so-called pay gap narrows to the point of vanishing.
Yep.
It goes down to a couple of cents.
Yeah, 98.
Exactly.
And funny
all of that
enough,
is- and
when
all of that is
Google went in
explainable.
and did their own audit, they ended up same with the BBC. They found out that the men were being underpaid compared to the women.
How
But
ironic.
you won't see that being announced.
Yeah, of course
Did
not.
they fix
And-
that, by the way? Did they amend that?
I don't
pay gap?
believe they did.
And besides which, the figures that these so-called feminists often spout is that they're actually dealing with average earnings, right? So
Yeah.
of course the numbers are going to be different on average because individuals make different choices. There are lots of reasons for
And
working in
it's
particular
life,
jobs and so on.
and it's also over lifetime, not like per hour or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's entirely different. And again, once you account for all the different variables, like it jumps up to 98, and that 2%, they're like, we have no idea.
Yeah, the multivariate analysis. Once that comes in, it completely destroys the
And
narrative.
again, acting like
Absolutely demolishes it.
acting like there is only a single cause for everything, which is either racism, sexism, transphobia, or homophobia, or God knows what else. That's what's called a single cause fallacy, and these people
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, they do not take account in personal choice and the lack of specialization, because by and large, on average, men tend to go into more specialized fields. So if you have a doctor, men will go more towards like, for instance, brain surgeon, rather
Yeah.
than just being the general practitioner.
rather than
And women go into baby doctoring because that's what they know.
Okay, well, I wasn't making that, but it was just
well, that's not the,
there's
the
less
thing is, it's not that the
specialization,
thing-
and the specializations add to uh, higher pay.
Exactly. I mean, you look at, say, on average, women tend to pick careers in, say, nursing, psychology, and social work.
Yeah,
Right.
things that are social rather than focused on
Yeah.
on absolute things
And I
like
want to emphasize,
engineering.
and I want to emphasize before anyone tries to tear this stream down, this is typically, not universally.
Yeah, it's
it's
an
universal.
overall general, the averages rather than, because there's always an outlier. Like
Well-
Mama Susan, she's an outlier,
Uh,
but that doesn't take away from her.
Be careful there, Yeti. By the way, there's this great video of like, it's at like, I don't know, one of these tech conferences or whatever, and they're taking questions, right? It's some video game developer, and this chick is like, you have such a low representation of like coders or whatever that work for your company. What are you gonna do about this? And he's like, we need as many as we can get. We will hire anyone regardless.
Mhm. Some
You know what I
jobs
mean?
are like
Oh.
that. I mean, I don't know if she'd appreciate me telling you this, but a friend of ours actually worked as a mortician for a while, or in a mortuary, right?
Oh.
And it is the job being what it is so people go for that sort of job very rarely. So when they do find someone who has the requisite skill set, they will pay exceedingly well and they will hire you because it is such a
Niche.
it is such a niche job. And sometimes jobs are like that. They're so niche that they can't really afford to be sexist or racist or God knows what else. They really can't afford to.
Well, here's the other thing. Most of the corporations are penny pinchers, and they want to save
You know, exactly.
everything on the bottom line. So if they can hire just women at 70 cents of the dollar, they would just hire women.
Yes,
Hell
exactly.
yeah.
It makes good economic and business sense.
It would.
And that is
Like
the-
if
and
they're
that is the
putting out the
question.
same output, well, of
Oh,
course
they're
you're gonna
not.
hire
Of,
them.
of course, they're not putting out the same output.
And then, of course, speaking of output, there's also the distinction to be made between, okay, hours worked, and then the efficiency of the work during those hours worked.
Well,
So, for
I think
example-
it's more an overtime.
Well,
Number
well,
of
so-
hours
well,
worked.
you
Yeah,
could
but
say a man and a woman pick some apples, right? A man and a woman are in a field and they're picking apples. The man,
But you're
manages-
already going to manual labor. That
Yeah,
like
But yeah, I know, but the same principle applies when you pay people differently because of efficiency, right?
well,
so-
okay, not when it comes to computer work though.
Yeah,
Not
no, same thing
necessarily.
because they spend so much time, gossip. What's the latest gossip? Whether it's picking out apples or on the computer.
Yes. So look, for example, you've got 2 hours, right? A man and a woman have got 2 hours to pick as many apples as they can. Okay, the guy picks 200 apples and the woman only picks 150. Who
I
are you
don't
going
think
to
this
pay
is a
more?
good example.
Right. I'm talking about efficiency rather than hours work. That's also a factor one needs to consider when you're dealing with paying.
Well,
Especially if
especially
you-
since efficiency for the average worker goes down to maybe 4 hours a day in an 8-hour day.
That being said, I have to clarify. This also depends on the job, right?
But hours worked, you can quantify because men on average work significantly longer hours and do more overtime work. That you
Yeah.
can quantify.
Because we don't take time to talk about our stories. Like, ooh, girl, did you see him? I can't believe that he was dating the twin.
It's a different story when you're salaried, when you're literally paid by the hour.
Yeah.
So.
All right, here we go.
But anyway.
Turn of the
Well,
tables.
even then, they still work more hours for the raise.
Well, exactly.
Like, though that's quantifiable.
And then, of course, when you deal with things like, say, Hollywood, right, and you get people complaining about how much they're paid or not paid, they seem to forget that agents do most of their work, and it's the agent's job to negotiate.
And
particular pay rate?
that there was highlighted very much in, I think, with the Netflix show The Crown and whatnot, because
With
Matt
Matt Smith.
Smith was actually being paid more than
Claire
what's her
Foy.
name, Claire Foy. and she was the main character. How people managed to figure out what they were being paid, I have no idea.
As far as I
But
know, that's illegal. But
I
anyway.
think that and you have to remember too, especially when you're agented, it's the agent who actually,
Yeah,
determines how much
negotiation
paid.
negotiation is a thing, and if you look on averages, men typically negotiate for higher salaries as well.
Yeah, because we got balls. All right, let's keep going.
This is not because while the
Press
trait
on,
of
sorry.
queerness is inherent, the trait of being an asshole is selective. Look, I know some people are terrible, alright? I don't mind. I just need them to not be terrible around me, okay? But while society may have been marching on, tropes tend to be a little slower to change. There's momentum to literary movements, and since creators are largely inspired by the works of earlier creators, generational tropes can manifest where a new wave of creators produce a new wave of an earlier trope that they previously internalized. Queer-coded villains underwent a somewhat
what?
subtle shift around this time, and I'm
Can you rewind that? That was really yeah, I missed that.
I'm calling bullshit right there.
What? No, that's absolutely true. People like how often do you see the hero's journey in a movie?
No, but the hero's journey was proven to be shown throughout time. Like that's how that's
yeah.
how
Exactly.
he came up with it. So
Yeah, Joseph Campbell. I've read
yeah, Joseph Campbell. Yeah,
Hero of a Thousand Faces. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. What I'm
Yes.
saying is that people do continue to like use past like structure whenever they're telling a story. Like
No, but that's an innate that's a human structure rather than something they saw previously.
but they
Like
did
the
see it
hero's
previously.
journey it's more inside of humanity rather
Okay,
than
how about the third act structure then? The 3 act structure.
I think that goes
Well, it depends
more
on
down
which-
to just
which-
telling a good story
There's
rather
more than one
than
3-act structure. You're going to have to be a bit more specific.
What I'm saying is like people have always been influenced and take like cues from what came before them. That's not something so absurd.
oh yeah, taking cues, but like writing these tropes the way that she's suggesting, that's what I'm having issues with.
selective. Look, I know some people are terrible, alright? I don't mind. I just need them to not be terrible around me, okay? But while society may have been marching on, tropes tend to be a little slower to change. There's momentum to literary movements, and since creators
Okay, so you're mixing up when she says that tropes are slower to change, and then she goes into that there are literary movements.
are largely inspired by the works of earlier creators, generational tropes can manifest where a new wave of creators produce a new wave of an earlier trope that they previously internalized. Queer-coded villains underwent a somewhat subtle shift around this time, and I'm not entirely sure where it came from, but I have a hunch. See, queer-coded villains, despite being the most generic dag-nasty evil they can be, are often very beloved by fans and creators alike. This cannot have been true when the trope started, since the whole purpose of the Hays Code was to make sure to portray these characters.
It cannot be true. Does somebody just come in?
I believe it is George the Giant Slayer.
Hey, how's everybody going?
Hey,
Hey.
George.
Hey, how's
Somebody
it going?
that really knows writing.
What's up with everyone? Oh, not this twat again.
You're gonna love this one too. We're talking about queer-coded villains.
I think that's got to be the best intro possible.
Hey, George.
Hey, brother, what you doing, Mr. Grant Gregory?
It also
not
says
much,
he
man.
was not
Yeah,
watching your
Sam.
show.
I don't understand. No, I wasn't. I was writing, trying to finish my video. I was listening to it. I wasn't watching it, but I had it low. What, I don't understand. How is this Teutonic twat everywhere? I just want
Over
to
a
take-
million
that. That's
subs,
good.
George.
I know. I want to erase
nice.
her.
I'm going to have to steal that one, George.
Okay, go ahead. I just this
Teutonic
woman
twat, I like
drives
that
me
one.
crazy.
Tectonic twat? Does that mean that she shakes a lot, or does she rub
Yeah,
against itself?
I just cannot believe that there's someone like this with zero brains. I mean, she has no self-control, no self-edit button. It's like, I think it, therefore it is real. No, it
George.
isn't.
Her first 6 minutes of the video were talking about this thing that's so bad, and then just completely dismissed it afterwards as if it had nothing to do with the video, and it doesn't. She literally put a segment, nearly half her video, in it that has nothing to do with anything.
Mhm.
Just so
Let's
at
see.
the end, she can say, "Well, because it was like that, it's still this way now."
I don't get it.
Let's see what's up.
characters as negatively as possible so nobody in the audience got any funny ideas. But just by making these characters flamboyantly, unapologetically themselves, even if it was so they could be punished by the narrative for doing those things, the characters often ended up resonating with the audience, and not just the closeted
I've
queer
got a point
audience.
of contention. The amount of queer people, quote unquote queer people around nowadays, they are not unapologetically self-confident.
I don't understand.
That is a load
This
of
is the same.
bullshit.
This is the same twat, right, Matt?
Yes.
The
yeah.
one that
Yeah,
did
yeah.
the fridging,
Yes. Same one.
the fridging bitch.
Yes.
You wait until she gets to bearing your gaze trope. Oh,
This is the one that said you can't kill anybody, even though killing them is a motivating factor for the hero to become a hero.
Yeah, they have
yes,
to have their
except
own
for the
own
ones
story.
that you can kill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Defying the social order to unapologetically exist is the kind of personal narrative that can resonate with anyone who doesn't comfortably 100% fit into the social order, whatever it may be. Those 3 decades worth of Hays Code
You are
approved
not part of
queer-coded
the
villains
social
might
order. Sorry.
No, George, she's the chosen one. That
No,
will get
she
on her
isn't.
red throne and tell everyone why they're wrong.
This is some hairy underarmed,
Anybody seen Rebecca?
Rebecca.
Yes.
The old.
movie?
Oh, yes, I see.
Yeah.
Long.
Great. I love the
long.
film. We did it at film school.
I
Queer
thought
coded
you.
villain.
I thought you did Matt's favorite film at film school.
No, that actually came out afterwards, I think.
Top Gun?
No, Hurt Locker.
Oh, his second favorite film.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you had a button for that. Never mind. I thought I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I didn't have it
wasn't saying
ready.
anything. Oh, okay. George, could you repeat that? So we can
Hold
hear the button?
on. I'm not ready.
Hurt Locker.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, like you don't have your stream deck out, do you?
Whatever. Yeah, no.
All right, we'll get back to it in a minute. I'll subtly hint you back in, George, when to say it. Okay.
You will circle around.
Circle.
Wait. All right. So what movie?
The Hurt Locker.
Oh wow, a Hurt Locker joke. Haven't heard one of those before. Yay, you. All
I
right,
know
there we
you
go.
love it. I'm gonna buy you every edition.
I'll burn them all.
You,
All
you're
right,
gonna get the one that's
That seems a little on the
Catherine-
nose.
Catherine
Wait,
Bigelow.
yeah,
is
I
been
know.
intended to
herself.
It does. Fire and you. I thought you didn't play with fire anymore.
Side Out. That's a great movie.
force the status quo, but their transgressive nature still taught the audience that the status quo could be disrupted. Somewhere along the line, I think this transformed the trope itself. The focus of the character was no longer on how evil and debauched they were, it was on how they existed in a fundamentally transgressive way, a trait that a
Wait,
surprising
what?
number of people can.
He wasn't queer. He was a transvestite. That's different.
Whoa, what's the word?
Yeah,
He's a
except
crossover.
those things have been confused these days. There's no longer
Yeah, from
men that
transsexual
just
to-
dress up as women for fun.
He's from transsexual Transylvania, but
Yes.
he just said he's a sweet transvestite. That's
Yeah.
what it was. There was nothing
Well, the
about
thing is,
Last
that.
time
he
I
did
checked-
molest what's his name, the husband dude.
Yeah, but that was for
Yeah, that's
power. That was to consolidate his power. This was his house. He's rules.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's omnivorous
Sympathize.
sexuality wise.
But they did retcon the character when they remade this movie a couple years ago.
They
Wait,
remade
they
the
remade
Rocky
it?
Horror
They
Picture?
didn't remake
Yeah.
Rocky Horror.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
Wait,
with
what?
You're
the
not
trans
kidding.
person from Orange Is the New Black.
You're not
Gosh.
kidding me, right?
They became Dr. Frankenfurter.
Come on.
No, it sucked. It absolutely sucked.
Of
I-
course,
terrible.
you can't beat Tim Curry.
No, it was god awful. Absolutely god awful.
Jesus, with these fucking people.
Pardon me.
You know, I don't give a shit
Oh
what
my
anybody
God,
does
how
in their
are you?
private life. I just don't care. I just don't want these nut jobs trying to pass off this as logic. See, the thing is there's idiots out there who actually think she's correct because they don't know any better. That's the problem. Otherwise, I wouldn't give a
Well,
shit.
because they don't
chronically
look into
online.
it. Nobody looks into it though. They just like, okay, well, yeah, they said this and they have graphics. There must be a
They
thing.
dragged Adam Lambert in as Eddie. Oh my god. Why?
Oh, it gets so much worse. If you
Now, I may
watch
not-
it, you're gonna die inside.
We should like set up a chat with Tim Curry.
Oh, dude, he can't really do much these days. He's a vegetable, basically.
Whoa. But he does chats. You know that, right? It's
I
like
know
So
he
you're
does,
saying he's available?
he is. I've seen him like on someone's YouTube channel. Like it's like you just, I don't know how, but they contact him and he's like sets up a chat for like 40 or 50 minutes.
Yeah,
he's pretty
dude,
cool.
he took a bad turn last year, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a vegetable or not. We should try this
He's not a
because
vegetable, I
he is
shouldn't have said that.
exceptional
That's-
and like
he is. He's
he is
phenomenal.
in the best movies ever made.
Anaconda.
Anaconda. He's
No,
not
he was
an
in
anaconda.
Congo.
He's not an
Oh,
anaconda.
sorry. I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of
That's
what's his
Big
name. That got
Bird.
re-
Thinking of John Voight.
That's Big Butts in
no, not John
Anaconda.
Voight. No, I'm thinking of the dude that got replaced by McFly by Michael J. Fox.
Eric Stoltz.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He's an anaconda.
Whatever that happened to him, Eric
He just
Stoltz.
kept getting replaced until he no longer existed.
He played a pedophile in a movie. That's all I can remember.
Tim Curry, Soul Assassin, he is an American treasure.
And
But
Clue
what
is one of the
happened to him?
best. No, Clue is the best comedy ever made.
There it is. Oh, I loved what's her name's boobs in that.
Oh my
All right,
god!
moving on.
I don't know exactly when this first manifested, but I know when it got big, and it's all thanks to Disney. Classic archetypical Disney villains
Oh,
are
here
frequently
we
queer
go.
coded.
Here we go. I know exactly where this is
Wait,
going.
Ursula is queer coded?
Look, it's
What
simply because
queer-coded?
It's all a man's
based on
fault.
stereotypes, basically.
Ah,
Based on stereotype. That's it. It's just a Ponzi
Oh.
way of saying stereotype. Look, just because Ursula was based on Divine, the famous drag queen,
Doesn't mean
make
she
the character.
is divine.
Yeah, it doesn't make the character queer, right?
Maybe
It's called
so.
artistic license.
Maybe yeah, because the Little Mermaid story that was written by whatever his name was, I forgot his name, was not like this. Like it was not a happy ending.
Yes. And if
I
we're
think
talking about queer writers,
Well, they
Hans
ate her in the
Christian
end.
Was
That was the
queer. He
point.
was bisexual. So
Yeah, that is true.
The most blatant
I mean,
example being Ursula, who's featured in-
wait. I want to know what queer coding is before we move forward.
It's when you get coded in the coding. Never mind.
yeah.
Come
so
on.
you have a character, and then you smush a bunch of stereotypes onto them, particularly to do with being gay or being LGBT,
Mm.
and then suddenly they are queer coded.
You got to bake them in the intersectional oven for half.
But there
an hour
is
at least.
no real
No,
evidence
no.
or
But what's
no
I don't understand.
explicit
She's saying she
evidence.
doesn't want queer characters or gay characters. I don't get it. Like what's her point? That they're
Well,
faux
because
queer?
like no, because they only do it to villains so that they can punish queers.
Yeah,
Through-
she's trying to say that villains that are so-called queer coded.
Mm.
She's trying to attack the motives of the
Oh,
people
I see.
who.
I see.
Yeah, she's basically trying to say that if you do this and if
Mm.
if you queer code your villain, you're a
Right.
homophobe.
So if a villain happens to be gay, it doesn't matter that they're a villain. It matters that they're gay. Ergo, you're
Yeah.
attacking. Okay, so
That's why
Exactly.
your villain like has to be a straight white male.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's kind of like the bury your gays trope. It's really just a passive aggressive way of saying don't do this. Only straight people are allowed to die. You know?
Mhm.
so she's saying
Like,
no gays
Batwoman.
can be villains.
Correct.
Well,
Mm.
Yeah, but if a
wait a
villain is
minute,
openly
that's
gay,
contra-
they're no longer coded. They just are.
has this twat read what Sir Ian McKellen said a couple of weeks ago?
Probably
Okay.
not.
I guess where he said like we're actors. You
Yeah, they
should
just
act.
Well, white gay men are the straight white males of the LGBTQ community.
What?
Yes, according to the progressive stack. Yeah, that's true.
Say that one more time, Matt.
All right. White gay men
Yes.
are the straight white males of
I
the
got you.
LGBTQ community.
It's late for me. So
Yeah.
I've been up for over 40 hours.
Good
Whoa,
lord.
dude.
Get some sleep,
Yeah,
bro.
I am in a little bit.
Lasso of Truth has
Stein
got
was
it right.
completely
It's like
based-
if you argue with a black person on Twitter, it's not because you disagree or because you have a different opinion.
Exactly.
It's because they're black.
I think that
Exactly.
means you're either friends with cocaine or Adderall.
Oh
Yeah, I
no,
think-
no, it's not.
On the
It's
same
just-
topic, this is what gets me too. Like, okay, here's the double bind for you. Is everyone familiar what a double bind is?
Double blind.
Double bind,
Yes, when you're buying doubly
like
bind.
a catch-22, right?
Oh, gotcha.
So
catch
here's
22.
another one for you. Slightly off topic, but here's another one for you. Okay, so you say, I haven't got any black friends. That makes you a racist. But the moment you do say you have black friends, you're also a racist because you're not allowed to say that, apparently.
Well,
I
no,
have
it's the
black
same
friends.
as what's his name? Bill Burr, who is married to a black woman. They're like, yeah, but he's still a racist because
How
a lot of
can he be
racists.
a racist if he's married. You can't.
Well,
KKK
because
guys
apparently-
don't go marrying
apparently
black
white
Well,
people.
people
he's a
think he's
colonizer
secondary.
now.
Mm.
He's a
Well, no, it's-
colonizing her
it's-
pussy?
No, because he is fetishizing black
Fetishizing
women.
black
Yeah.
women, yeah.
Yeah, but these are also the same people who heartily dislike, was it interracial marriages?
Yes.
Oh,
like it's
and
gone
he-
back to the
Also
50s.
projecting the power fantasy,
That's
Yes,
the-
and
that
not
as
just
well.
fetishizing.
They
Yeah.
are completely obsessed.
Yeah, I think they have no brains, being nothing to do in their lives. Zero.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a deviation.
No, it was perfect because this. I'd like her to
It's just,
show
it's
her face.
weird. It's weird.
It's the same idea as if you marry a woman, if you're a man and you marry a woman, it's not because you love them, it's because you're a sexist.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there are feminists out there who actually believe that you know,
Yeah.
Andrea
marriage
What?
Dworkin,
is
for example.
just a means of men.
I like
Was
boobs.
it oppressed women? You know.
Yeah, there are. That's the thing. There are rad femmes out there. There are rad femmes who actually believe that any form of heterosexual relationship, or even to have sex, is a degree of rape.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, those
Unless it's
crazy people.
unless
And
it's
in
a
case
feminine
anyone-
penis.
And in case anyone thinks I'm bullshitting, I invite you all to look up Andrea Dworkin. She
No,
is
like yeah, this
something
is
else.
Wait a minute. I'm not.
these are
understanding.
real
So
articles.
If you
It
like
is
a woman, you're a sexist because I like
Yes.
Pretty
women
much.
and I like
according
boobs.
to people like Andrea Dworkin, yeah.
So
Yeah.
And,
then when-
here's a rabbit hole you can all go down. Here's a rabbit hole, interesting rabbit hole. I invite you all to look up political lesbianism. That should give you something to think about.
Hilarious.
I'm gonna make a note of this.
Political lesbianism.
Political lesbianism, i.e., otherwise well-rounded, educated, middle-class women choosing to go lesbian.
You might as
Uh-huh.
well strike off well-rounded.
Yeah, to
you
stick
had
it to
me
the
at licking
patriarchy.
lesbians.
Wait, hold on, Yeti. I'm trying to listen to him. What?
As I said, that's what I said. Women who are not born gay,
Right.
right? Women who are otherwise heterosexual but choose to indulge in relationships with women
Mhm.
to stick it to the patriarchy because they see heterosexual relationships as a form of systemic oppression.
Come on, that can't be real. You can't go.
Oh, it's real. It's real. Look up political lesbianism.
No,
You
I've
think
looked
I'm
it
joking?
up. No. But I think it must be someone's putting us on because no
Oh,
one's
you
going to
think
go.
so?
I go from dick to twat, and just because if I want to stick it to somebody.
Yeah,
Like,
Last Day of Truth got it. Yeah.
I think they might have a crutch on a dildo.
no, I get that someone has written this. I'm just saying, how can it? I mean, like, do you think actually someone follows through with it? Come on, it's like a inside joke between radicals.
No, dude.
You-
Like
you think
every
so, but
time,
it isn't.
every time I see something, I'm like, dude, that's not real. Like I had to pause. I'm like, wait, this is 2022.
Like it's
Let me
2022.
look at it.
Don't
Yeah.
assume anything.
That sounds like a B article. That just doesn't sound. real.
There's at least 1% of the population, maybe 0.5, that is just crazy enough to follow through with that type of thing.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think
we're
it's higher
dealing
than
with
that.
radicals here. We're dealing with extremists. Are there anything extremists will not do?
No, they'll do anything. But
Apparently,
maybe
they won't do a
were-
penis.
Maybe they were really gay, and this is just their excuse. You know, I mean, I could
Yeah,
see
could
that.
be.
Well,
Maybe
well,
they
you
are
never know,
gay, and
could
this is just
be.
an excuse. Maybe
Could be.
it's the only way they can reconcile
Right.
with the notion inside themselves.
Unless it's a feminine penis, man.
What?
Yeah, I've already
Exactly.
used
Remember
that
what we
joke.
said about the meaning of words earlier.
I really want to know how your Ursula is queer coded because I don't remember anything about her being.
Look,
I
the
know
only
I've heard
evidence
that
we've
come
got
up
is
in
that it's based
articles.
on a drag queen,
I
that's
just
it.
Oh, there
don't
it is.
see it. Like I don't
There
get.
it is. There we go.
But most Disney villains were a combination of flamboyant, immensely self-confident, and in some way fundamentally transgressive.
Wait, hold on. You can't the self-confident. You can't use that as an example of queer coding.
No.
Yeah.
And nor can you say the same of any character with a posh accent.
Yeah.
Don't be
Well, yeah,
ridiculous.
no. If they're British, yeah, okay. Like the
How
likelihood of
is
them being gay.
Maleficent a lesbian or queer? How the hell is bloody what's his name? Queer. He's thoroughly masculine and straight.
But this is what she's about to say. Even the male villains who are explicitly attracted to women.
And the male villains who are explicitly attracted to women don't avoid being queer-coded with traits like vanity or a general love of...
What? Oh, God.
Okay. So
What?
vanity, which is something that everybody does on
Oh,
occasion,
Jesus.
is queer coding. So making a character vain, that's supposed to be an LGBT stereotype. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah,
Christ.
bro.
Anyway,
General love a Oh my God. Oh, I don't even know what
See,
to do
that's
with
drama
this.
that are
right now.
I'm
associated
not
with
even sure whether or not what her argument is here. Is she saying that these queer codings are a negative thing? That these stereotypes here are a negative thing?
Nikki, we'll get
Or
there. We'll
is
get
she
there.
actually trying to say, no, I don't want these things associated with gay people or LGBT people or whatever?
See, she's not going to be very clear about it if she does, but I
Because
don't think we'll get
I'm
there.
not really sure what the people who bring up this queer coding stuff. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do. Are they trying to dispel the notion that these behaviors are quote unquote queer, or are they trying to reaffirm that these things are queer?
So what they're saying is like these are associated with with queerness, right? So they are traits of queer people.
I can't remember who said it, but somebody said it, and they basically summed it up rather beautifully. And they basically
No
said, look,
hollaback girl.
all of this
Oh.
is their own prejudices, their own bias,
Mhm.
and they're projecting it onto everything else.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why I asked the question: Are they wanting to dispel the notion
No.
of these stereotypes, or are they wanting to reaffirm them and reestablish them?
No, that's not it at all. All they want is that for villains not to be queer coded. They're saying like
thing is-
these are traits of
And if I turned around and said to you, the thing is, you are not you, but an impersonal you.
Yeah, plural.
Yeah, you are the one queer coding them. This is coming from you.
Right.
This is your stereotype. This is your bullshit. Own it.
Meanwhile, the rest of us look at what's his name here? Sorry, names are just
Jafar?
flying.
Jafar,
Jafar, that's his name. Names are just
Justin
going right
Villain.
out of my head this evening. Anyway, we all look at Jafar, and all we see is some smarmy dude wanting to get into Jasmine's pants.
Mhm.
You know, we don't see a gay person or a trans person.
well,
we just
yeah,
see
he's
Jafar, the slime ball.
yeah,
the
but
villain.
really, he's queer.
Yeah, wasn't the whole plot he wanted to marry her to become king? Wasn't
Yeah,
that the
see?
plot?
Yeah.
He
Yes,
wanted
it
a
was a
legitimate
social climber.
claim to the throne.
Yeah, so it had nothing to do with him being attracted to her. He just wanted the
Yeah,
power,
but he
which
probably
again is
wanted-
a trait of queer people.
Yeah, but he probably just wanted to pull the ponytail a little too, you know.
Oh my goodness,
I mean,
George.
look,
Femininity or
Jasmine.
the broad space of queer stereotypes.
But
and these
by
characters
her
are beloved.
definition, all teen dramas are queer coded. If you
Well-
look at her definition,
Well,
It's
yeah,
very
they are all.
peculiar.
Do you
They
see
are
her
all-
bookshelf?
Oh yeah,
She has fucking this She does not read Aristotle. No way with
No.
this
Yeah.
kind of melon head that she
I bet
has.
she doesn't read any of Spa, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. It's like a
No, I got you.
I think I see a book from George the Giant Slayer on
No, but what is the second one? It says the complete works of. I can't read the little.
George Molo.
mad.
That's Shakespeare.
Oh, Shakespeare.
Oh yeah,
You're
it is
correct.
Shakespeare. Yeah.
You're correct.
Maybe not Gaston, but they're almost always the most interesting people in their movies, and even if we know that they're gonna lose in the end, it's still very fun to watch them sweep around like they own the place, singing about how diabolical they are. Now there's one problem here. It's not easy nailing down what exact traits constitute queer coding, so it's
That's the
So-
point, because it's bullshit. That's
It
why
really
it's
depends
made
on the
up
person.
bullshit.
Listen to this. A problem. Stereotypes are somewhat subjective, and change a lot. We can't definitively prove that a character's traits are queer coding.
Well,
And there goes the dynamite. You have just blown up your entire video.
there
Well
goes
done.
the stereotype. A stereotype is a very specific set of traits.
That
If
are
it-
subjective, and they
Well,
change a
it's-
lot.
Then it's no longer a stereotype.
Mm-mm-mm.
Well,
It's hard to definitively argue that a given character is queer coded or not. But like all coding, queer coding draws on the corpus of stereotypes. If something is a queer stereotype, applying it to a character
Oh
can
my
make
god.
them queer.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Oh, I think
Coding.
Yeti just
For instance,
vomited.
Disney's portrayal of Hades has a few traits in common with us.
can't do this.
Wait, Hades is gay now?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yo,
The
well,
sassy
he's
gay
got a
best
dick on the
friend.
chin.
But one thing, if you know full well the was it Greek myth of Hades, he's married.
Right.
No,
To a
no, that's just a lie.
man.
Trust me. Don't worry about what the scholars or anyone else says. There's a 20-something year old, middle class white woman in America that knows better. Okay.
She's got 1 million subs. I think she's doing a little bit better than middle class.
Yeah. When was the last time you saw Hades with 1 million subs?
Sassy gay best friend type. Scar, despite being, a lion, has some flamboyant body language that makes a lot of people think, kinda gay.
really.
Captain Hook is
What?
No, I don't think of
No.
that.
I kind of get that one.
No, I don't. How do you get it? He's like fucking masculine. He's like a warrior.
Scar?
He's
No,
named
he's-
Scar, not anal Scar.
Hold on. First of all, he is not a warrior. The whole thing about Scar was like he was the opposite of
was the
Mufasa.
politician. It was
Yeah,
a
he-
politician.
Then
He
I'm
wasn't
too
a
fucking-
fighter.
Then I'm too tired.
If anything, that was Timon.
Tibbo,
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
right.
if they- if
You're
they're gonna
right.
bring
You're
up some
right.
sort
You're
of-
right. You're right. I see the floor.
very flamboyant and swishy, and his whole thing with Smee is, well,
What?
a thing. Cruella de Vil is
Jesus. Oh my
Just
god.
because,
What?
just because Captain Hook is wearing
Okay.
a frock coat doesn't make him gay.
I think
Like, it's
is she
ridiculous.
confusing confidence with gayness? So anyone who's
Yes.
confident
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
gay.
She's
Yes.
conflating all the
think-
all everything with it.
I think she's just saying everyone is gay.
gayness at the moment.
Yeah. pretty much.
Everyone is gay, 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 gay.
Oh, that's
Oh,
the
no,
bait.
that's not the song.
By the way, not to get us too sidetracked like what we've been doing all night. So I was thinking about Hook the other day, and I was like, dude, this was a movie where they kill off everyone's favorite character, right? Rufio, right? They kill off Rufio, and then and now you're stuck with this 40-something-year-old man having a midlife crisis. What a great kids movie! Like,
Who actually abandons them again in the end?
right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, dude, that takes some balls, man. Like, oh, hey, this whole Peter Pan story, we're gonna focus on a middle-aged,
Not only that,
Man.
it had Phil Collins in it.
right? Oh, and Rufio, yeah, you love Rufio. He's dead.
is a powerful,
Phil
bossy
Collins,
older woman with a
tattoo.
husband.
Who is Phil Collins in Hook?
He's the detective. That's
Yeah.
search
I
that's
was
looking for the kids.
too. Oh, sorry.
He's the
Sorry,
one
I got
where
confused. I got
is it
confused
Otis?
with Bob Hoskins. Never mind. Sorry.
I want to go
Uh,
see. I want to go see his last tour. You know, he's doing one tour because he can barely walk.
well, Bob
Hmm.
Hopkins. No, he died years ago.
No, Phil Collins.
Oh, okay, that makes
He
sense.
played Mario.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Luigi
well,
Mario's
yeah,
brother.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
dead as a doornail.
Also Meryl Streep was in Hook too. She was dressed up like one
No,
of the
she
pirates.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Was she?
Actually, Ken Jack Ben makes an interesting point on Scar. If you consider the Shakespearean origins of the Lion King, right? Ken Jack makes this point. He says Scar is a very deceitful male character. They've mistaken aristocratic behavior for homosexual behavior. It's like, yeah, that's exactly right.
But all aristocrats were gay.
That's true though.
Oh, some
And
of them were.
Mad, it wasn't Meryl Streep. It was
Glenn Close.
Glenn
Yeah,
Close.
yeah. That's basically what I said.
No,
Yeah, except one of them has a
cries.
man's name.
Yeah, one
Well,
cries.
both
and
of
one
them do,
kills.
actually.
No, one
Glenn
killed.
Close was also in Hook, actually.
She was, yeah, she
Yeah.
had a cameo.
Who-
She was the
who
guy that
is
got
she?
killed. She was the guy that
Yeah.
got killed at the beginning. She was dressing up as
Yeah.
a man. Why aren't they talking
Yeah, she
about
did
that?
well.
I do not
What-
remember. Glenn
Yeah,
Close.
Well, that's
it
why she
came
got
down-
killed.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
came.
Do you remember
exactly.
the guy who in Hook? Glenn Close was the guy who gets shoved in the box
Mhm.
and basically eaten to death by, is it scorpions? I can't remember.
I
Again,
believe-
this is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
kids
Scorpions.
movie.
kids movie. Yeah,
Who's never named and a
Good night,
ridiculously
fellow
over the top personality
Wait, so her husband, who was never named, so she's gay.
and she's just
Wait,
got
wait,
this
but-
vibe, you know?
but it's
And this
been,
one
it's been declared that she has a husband in the series, so it is canon that she's married to a man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but she's
So
just
therefore,
a
that means that she's gay.
So I'm
she's just
telling
a
you,
Boston.
She's just saying everyone is gay. That's her basic premise.
Pretty
Well,
much. And
villains.
and Posh, because look at Cruella, for example. She's very
I
posh.
don't think Posh Spice
Posh
was gay.
also
Wasn't she
means
married
gay
to that
for some
Beckham guy?
Yeah, she was, dude. Why are you bringing her up in here? Now, Scary Spice. Pretty sure she was gay.
one's kind of interesting. A lot of Disney villains
I
express
thought
a
you were gonna
general
go with Mel
skepticism
C.
or
I mean,
detached
he's the one that
amusement
dressed up
about
as a
the
dude.
obligatory romantic subplot between the mandatory heterosexual couple of pretty young heroes, from eye-rolling all the way up to dismissing the existence of true love. This is less of a behavioral queer stereotype
This
and
is
more
a poor
tied in with
example because if you've read the myth, like Megara was actually Hercules' wife, and basically Hera sent Hercules mad. He went mad, so he ended up killing her and all of his family. And this kind of motivates the whole 12 Labors of Hercules story, I think, depending on which rendition you read. So using Hercules and Meg wasn't the best example.
I mean,
So, is this picture saying that because this guy's gay, they can't understand a heterosexual relationship? So gay people
Yes.
don't understand a relationship, but they would rather
Yes,
see
because
two
apparently
toys
gay
smashed
people
together.
are from.
yeah, it's beyond their understanding. They're like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
Let me play with my gay
auto gay bots.
Septicons.
Yeah, they're treating people like they're from Mars or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, which everyone knows only men
the
are.
That's right.
actual queer experience.
Which makes them
There's
super gay.
Look, there's a book in
Feeling
there about
fundamental-
Uranus somewhere, but I'm not making it.
You're not going to go to Uranus?
No, I'm not going
Oh,
to go there.
Yeti has two.
Separated from the concept of a fairy tale love story happy ending. Disney villains are usually placed in ideological opposition to the straight romance in their movies. Ursula casually tells Ariel to seduce Prince Eric by relying on her
Okay,
looks
so
and the
Gaston, like he's not in opposition to the thing. He's literally going after it. He's a
Are
character
we-
that they think is
Are
gay.
we also forgetting that Ursula changed her shape
Yeah.
to literally steal the prince?
Yeah, but that
Like-
was from her. That was because of her queerness.
Yeah, like, oh, come on, man. Ugh. Anyway, never mind.
importance of body language rather than like getting to know each other as people. Jafar tries to use genie magic to make Jasmine love him to completely undercut her whole narrative about being free to choose, which is actually interesting because Aladdin actually spends most of the movie also
But
trying to
how is
manipulate
that? How
Jasmine
is that
because it's-
opposition to a heterosexual relationship, though? You literally just said that they're
Oh
doing
no,
it. And then you
Aladdin
just-
does not try and manipulate fucking Jasmine. That is not true.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm,
Extreme.
Well,
It's one of the worst cases of manipulation.
the
of a
thing is,
character
it's
that-
pretty quickly undercut by Jasmine already knowing who he is. You know, but then he lies. So yeah, no, I suppose so.
Yeah.
That's how it is. You can lie to women. as long
Gaston
as they're
seemingly can't
from the
conceive of
Middle East. Got it.
No, that okay.
paradigm where
That's
people
what
might
Disney
like
was saying,
people for
wasn't it?
reasons
I'm good at reading messages. I'll start my own channel. It'll work.
Deeper than physicality and thus might not be into him, Hades actively manipulates Hercules by using his love for Megara as his weakness, and Maleficent's whole evil plan is based on the idea that true love's kiss will never happen. Disney villains consistently either dismiss true love or reduce it to physical attraction. Classic
And this
Disney
has got
villains
to
are
do-
disconnected.
And this has got to do with queer coding. How?
Yeah, but I mean, they also used Maleficent, and the fact of the matter is that the True Love's kiss in the clip that they actually showed was her kissing her. That was the whole
Yeah,
point.
but that was to do with mother and daughter, not lesbian love.
No, but what I'm saying is she's using these images as an example of why this doesn't happen, but it does in that one. Like it's not a heterosexual relationship that they're talking about in that.
From the concept of true love in a way that could resonate pretty well with an audience that grew up with no love stories they could personally relate to. This is a bit of a reach, I know, but it is
I
a
know
common
it's a bit of a
experience that might
reach. Tell me about
Oh
it.
no, gay
Is this
people
Screen
don't
Rant?
fall in love at all.
That looks like a Screen Rant type font. Is that Screen Rant?
Yeah, it's
It
Screen
probably
Rant.
is. No, see that
Uh,
right there pisses me off. That right there, that's the whole inclusivity and diversity and representation argument all over. That people need to like characters need to reflect a specific group of people. Oh no, and I'm just saying, it's like, why can't a gay person look at a straight romance, for instance, and go, "Oh, I wish I had that for myself."
well, because that's not possible. I mean,
But
you have to
no,
see.
No,
how-
no, not in a
in order to
mad,
feel
not in an over
validated,
literal
they
sense.
have to be gay.
No, I mean it's not
As if that
possible.
stopped gay people from getting together.
It's not possible because you have to see exactly who you are on screen for you to realize
Yeah, no,
what.
you'd think that with the way they carry on.
Yeah.
But gay people have been falling in love and getting together for thousands upon thousands of years, and they had no representation or whatever. So what the hell is stopping these modern day queers?
Narcissism, Nick.
Oh, that's a nice name
Conservatives.
for a band, the Modern Day Queers. Let's bookmark that one. I like that name.
help
Yeah,
explain why this
100%.
specific flavor of queer-coded villain resonates as well as it does. Now, of course, as we discussed
bullshit. It's
earlier,
already
queer
taken.
subjects have become a lot less taboo in the last few decades. Queer coding still happens on the regular, but we're also getting canon queer representation, and these tropes have been interacting in very strange ways. Plenty of media has been adding positive representation, where heroes are allowed to be canonically queer. and
I'm sorry, but Catra and She-Ra is not positive representation. This bitch tried to kill her, right?
Out of love.
Yes, and they think people will, well, they do. That the thing is, these people would swallow an anchor. They're that gullible. They think that this is a good thing, that this bitch has basically spent the entire TV show trying to kill this bitch.
Could
And
we
vice
rewind?
versa.
What does that mean? Swallow an anchor. I don't know that term.
It's basically a reference to someone being gullible. Like you would swallow anything, you would believe anything. Honestly,
I
you
thought
would
you meant that
swallow
was
an anchor.
all.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit of an idiomatic phrase, but yeah.
What show is this one that she's showing?
She-Ra.
Which?
She-Ra.
She-Ra and the
She-Ra?
Princesses of Power. It's
Really?
on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
so-
old
Yeah, check it
She-Ra?
out.
Like old She-Ra? No,
Yeah,
like
Well,
yes. Old
no,
She-Ra,
new.
new She-Ra, who's now gay and falls in love with someone who's trying to kill them. And these are
Yeah,
the sort of
exactly.
people that'll look at the relationship between Harley Quinn and the Joker and go, "Man, I just wish someone
Yeah.
would look at me that way,"
Because that's
not
healthy.
knowing any
Yeah.
context about what's going on.
Well, to be fair, my girlfriend has stabbed me like 3 times.
What?
But
Oh,
I thought
God.
Mad was the only
there's
one
a
that would
story
swallow
there.
anything.
Okay. I gotta get going. Thank you. I'm now passing
Hey,
out.
George, thanks for stopping by, man.
No,
Hey,
thank you
George.
for having me. But you
I'll
never send me a link.
message you on the next one, George.
Thank you. See, Matt never sends me the message.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Yeti. Great to see you, Sam, Nick.
Good to see you
Grant.
too.
Yeah,
Grant,
see
as always.
you later.
All
See you,
right.
buddy.
I can't believe this twat. The show. Everybody, in the chat, love you
George
all.
is going to
This-
wake up in the middle of the night and go, "Fucking cunt, fucking get up."
Well, this woman is. Well, I'm going to say 5 more minutes now. I got to hear what more of this crap.
All right, let's go. Let's play. We got him.
screen. But the queer-coded villain is such a well-established trope at this point that some creators feel safer making villains explicitly queer than heroes.
Oh
Shades
my
of that
God.
old moral
God.
absolute.
Oh, you bastard!
Gee,
Moriarty was not gay.
He
That was
is-
the whole point. He used that as a thing to
Yeah.
flirt with
Yes.
Sherlock to get his attention.
Yeah, if I
Exactly.
recall correctly, it was meant to throw. It was meant to throw Sherlock, not
Yeah,
necessarily.
it's meant to throw him off. Yeah.
Like, he's a sociopath. He's meant to be. He's meant to use emotions and feelings and everything in order to get under people's skin.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No. Here's the thing. Like, hear me out. Remember in his last episode when he-
Yes.
he shot himself in the head?
Yep.
Maybe she's saying he took a full load to the face, so therefore he's gay.
All right, let's power through here.
Are still there. Heroes are heroic and positive role models, and giving them character traits that are not unilaterally regarded as positive can be seen as a risky play. I briefly touched on this in the anti-hero video too, because it's easier for a writer to give an anti-hero a potentially spicy character trait like a queer identity because it feels like less of a gamble. And this pervasive fear
Oh,
is
we've got our next
responsible
video.
for a whole
Oh god, that's such
I,
bullshit.
I like it when she provides us with our next stream.
bunch of tropes in this space. Bury Your Gaze, for instance, is the trope where a canon queer character dies fairly quickly, often shortly after their orientation or identity is officially confirmed. And this happens because, frankly, a lot of writers feel safer when their controversial characters are dead. They get to
Okay,
reap the
That's
positive
called
cloud of
attacking
I'm
motive.
going-
Fucking stop
Fuck
it.
this twat.
Alright.
I'm out of here, gentlemen. Have a wonderful
see you,
evening.
brother.
Chat later. This twat
See
needs
ya.
to go.
Hey,
Bye.
brother. Have a good one,
See you,
man.
man.
That last one was called attacking motives. No,
Yep.
naughty.
acknowledging that this identity exists, but they don't need to worry about actually handling the character well. Of course, Bury Your Gaze is a long-standing trope also rooted in the Hays Code, since punishing immorality was a huge part of the whole premise, so
Told you it'd
killing
be
off queer
brought up.
characters was the respectable thing for these movies to do. Same stuff, different decade. Queerbaiting is a comparatively new trope in this general space, as it's queer coding with an inherently positive angle. A creator will hint to the audience that canon positive queer content might be coming in order to draw in an audience that wants to see that kind of representation, and then sometimes they deliver the barest bit of canon queer content before snapping the camera away and often killing the character just to be safe. Reap the brownie points
I
of
agree.
acknowledging queer stuff
Everything
is a
she said
thing.
up until the killing part, because that is not what queer baiting is. Queer baiting is purely and simply by hinting that there's a relationship that's supposed to be there that never
Like
is.
Xena and Gabrielle.
Well,
Xena,
but yeah,
Gabrielle,
but-
the doctor, Whitaker's doctor, and Yaz, the fucking mouthy bitch.
See,
But-
I thought it's when you sat on your hand and then masturbated with.
That's the
with-
stranger. I've already
Yeah,
explained
but-
this in detail and how to do it safely.
But recently though, a lot of this whole queer baiting has been projected onto it, like Sam
Yeah.
in Winter Soldier, right? Like they're like,
Oh,
they're
I thought you were going to
queerbaiting
say
this.
Frodo. I'm like, okay,
No.
there's a little bit there.
Oh no, they're gay as
Not
shit.
even. No.
Dude, it's not gay. It's
No,
only
it's
gay if you push back, and they're clearly both starfish in bed. So it's
All right,
fine.
let's
But
just
don't
keep going
actually
here.
write it into your story in any
Sam
meaningful
is
way,
pushing
because that's
back
hard and scary,
hard.
and people might get mad. Queerbaiting is queer coding for people who want more queer content, and it's harmful in all the same ways. For some writers, queer coding and queer baiting can feel like a safe alternative to actual queer representation. You never need to worry about actually writing the queer content if you just keep hinting at it or dropping in stereotypes the audience can read into. On some level,
Okay,
we've circled
that's
back
true.
around to confirm
Can
bachelors
we
and
just
lavender
make the
weddings.
point of like most big budget films these days have to, or they try to because they want the Chinese money, they have to appeal to the Chinese market. So they can't be explicit about anything like that. Otherwise, they're going to have to cut it out.
Yeah, because
So
every
why
film
bother?
wants to break $2 billion, and
Exactly.
they go, well, we might get a tenth of the way there if we appease China. So therefore, we're going back
Exactly.
on what we would normally have in cinema. That was
So-
naturally progressive.
Hence for example, they cut out the lesbian kiss in the, I mean, it's a shit movie anyway, but they cut out the lesbian kiss in that Star Wars movie. They
Rise
they
of
cut
Sky.
out
Yeah.
the,
I mean, they
cut out
didn't really
the-
cut anything out of Black Swan. If anyone's seen that one,
yes, I have.
No.
that was
I liked
it
it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was different.
Mm.
It was enjoyable.
It's like a sort of weird sort of psych thriller. Yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
good.
But isn't it
Anyway.
about women?
Well, I mean,
Well,
you've got-
yes,
with-
but-
Gross, not interested.
Padme
and
gets her
plausible
face set off.
deniability because queer identities haven't quite
yeah,
shaken off that veneer of
it's kinda
social
cool.
unacceptability that makes people nervous or ashamed to touch on them in any serious way. Modern queer-coded villains still have a lot
You're
of the baggage
assuming
from
a
the
lot of
original
people's
Hays Code
motives
version,
here,
like
too.
how
Yeah. Oh yeah, and she did this last time too.
Queerness will sometimes be used to signal that they're extra unhinged or dangerous, tying back into the idea that it's something
but
inherently
that's the
abnormal
point,
and
it's the
alarming.
opposite
And
now.
certain identities get most of their on-screen representation by way of queer-coded villains. Most
If you-
non-binary characters these days
But they're always super like strong. They're always smart. They're always the best. You know, that's the whole point that they're doing now with it. It's
Yeah.
swung the other way. Actually, how old
are
is this
explicitly
video?
non-human
Huh?
So Ray is gay queerbait then.
Less than a year.
I suppose.
beings like genderless aliens or shapeshifters. Bisexuality and pansexuality get most of their rep through very promiscuous characters, often with cheating subplots. And if you're asexual or aromantic, most of your good rep comes from
Hey, there's a
robots.
fucking robot.
You fucking
What?
cunt.
Wait, no. How is he gay?
He's not. He's asexual.
Dude,
they're saying
look
he's
at
that.
asexual.
He
Look at the
literally has
picture.
a relationship with
Yeti.
oh,
Look at the picture.
He's
He's literally sucking on pipe at the moment.
Right?
That's the image that she picked.
How Freudian.
No, he has a sexual relationship with Lieutenant Yara,
He does. He was the vibrator in that scenario.
and then has a daughter later on.
Not the same thing, but yeah, I get what you mean.
And the rest of your rep comes from evil villains incapable of understanding what
Oh,
it is to
jeez.
choose love.
Okay,
Now,
okay,
before I so yeah
okay.
and sign off, a whole bunch of other
I am done.
YouTubers have made
Fucking
videos
fall-
related to this that you might
How
want
is-
to check
how
out.
is-
Lindsay Ellis's
okay.
Tracing the Roots of Pop Culture Transphobia video is
Oh.
an extremely in-depth look at one very specific side of the queer-coded villain trope and how trans-coded villainy specifically evolved. While Sarah Zed's The John Locke Conspiracy and Dusty Elgate videos talk about queer baiting in
Speed up
BBC's
her
Sherlock
audio
and the
on this.
CW's Supernatural, respectively.
Huh?
Did she speed up her audio post?
It
I-
sounds like it.
It
doesn't
feels like it.
Yeah.
H-Bomber
And
guys,
the
Sherlock is
that whole
garbage, and here's
Voldemort
why
thing,
video.
Is she saying that he's gay because he's trying to get a hold of a young boy's wand?
Also has a fun bit discussing
No, I
BBC
think
Sherlock's
the
portrayal of
only
Moriarty
basis
and how
for
they
that
deliberately
particular-
queer-coded him.
The only basis for
Oh.
that particular
I'm
opinion, the idea of
just
Voldemort
trying
being
to-
gay is because he never got married. He never. Like,
I'm
he
just
was
trying to
quote,
power
a terminal
through the last-
bachelor. That's it.
We got like 30 seconds left, and I'm just trying to.
Nobles and
Yeah,
scarier
I'm
and more
sorry,
unhinged, which is,
talking.
you know, exactly what we were talking about today. Dominic Noble's lost an adaptation video about
Good
the 1945
Lord.
The Picture
Who
of Dorian
doesn't
Gray.
talk about
Also
this?
briefly touches on the Hays Code and how it might have led them to reduce the queer coding of Dorian to make him more redeemable by their standards. There's also
Okay,
like
hang on a second,
million
just
videos
pause
and
for a sec.
podcasts about Disney.
Can we point out for a sec that the Dorian Gray thing has been rectified? If you're thinking Dorian Gray's queer, he actually was queer in Penny Dreadful, if anyone remembers that. So yeah, so that doesn't really count. He was explicitly queer.
Oh,
And
that's
that
why he
one's
couldn't
been
look at
rectified
himself
so
in the mirror.
yeah, have fun with that. It's a lot. A lot.
I
So,
I
yeah,
don't
and thanks
know.
again to Campfire Blaze for sponsoring this video.
Nope.
And the auto tagging feature
Nope.
world that fits your story.
Nope.
Nope.
It's a month with a
Nope.
All right. Well, we got through that. We got 4 minutes until it's been 3 hours.
thank you.
All
I've
right.
got cancer now.
It's only been 2 hours.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Yeah, we should do another hour.
No.
Look,
We're
if
good.
you've got cancer, if you've got a very particular type of cancer, I think it'd be really good if you rub some bourbon on it from the inside. That'll do it.
Anyway, so what do you guys think?
I
Bullshit.
think I have cancer.
She's talking
I
out of
thought
her asshole.
So lessons learned. Oh, sorry, wrong stream.
I mean, I'm still
Y'all
left with
better recognize, motherfuckers. Cause me, I started as a baby, a tiny little baby. Now look at me, now look at me. I started as a baby, a tiny little baby. Now look at me, now look at me. Life experience and education helped develop my brain. Look at me now, I'm a grown up, things done change. I started as a baby, a tiny little baby. Now look at me.
All right. Lessons
Now look
learned.
at me.
Did that change speed during that? It seemed like it started to get slower and slower as it went on.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Grant Gregory, what are your lessons learned?
Lessons learned is that whenever you get some annoying female type woman who is assigned that gender at birth, you have to have George in the panel, just because the amount of swears he does under his breath is awesome, and it's very entertaining.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeti.
I learned that bourbon stings the butthole, as he suggested. It
Which
did
one?
not cure the cancer.
Yeah, did you put it in both or just one?
Well, both. Yeah, because it was double ass cancer. And it stung horribly, and I do
That
not
sounds
like
twice
this.
as bad.
Yeah, Wookie, this is the last time we're doing her. We're gonna move on to Scientology next time.
Oh, good, something light.
Yeah, something a little lighter. Nick, lessons learned.
Middle class white women need to be stopped.
I agree. All women suck. Sam?
Look, I honestly think that certain people are just so desperate to see themselves represented on screen that they will literally convince themselves they see anything.
Sorry, I'm getting text messages.
I love how vague that was, but so profound at the same time. You should have your own channel like that.
And as far as the lessons I've learned, man, you guys talk a lot.
Isn't that exactly what a YouTube channel is for?
Yeah, but not like but not like more than me. Like I'm supposed to be the talkative one.
Well, you're
Well,
more than
dude,
welcome
you
to
didn't
tell
even do
everyone
one
to
of your
shut
stories
up
this
if you
time.
want.
No, I didn't do a story
had
this
none of
time.
your stories.
Well, I don't know if I have any stories about queer coding.
Well, you've got that one where
You were
somebody
in the
finds a dick.
army.
Yeah, that's not Navy, dude. That's different.
My
like,
bad. My bad.
100%.
I mean, that story about where someone finds a dick, that comes pretty close.
No. It was
That was totally queer bait.
no, dude. It was a straight penis, man. You could tell.
Man, all you had to do was add a fishing rod, and it was pure queer bait.
Does that work? If you would have put a penis in the end, I don't think that would work. You'd get a lot of you get a lot of middle-aged women chasing it.
All right. Anyway. Wow. Look at this. This is why this is why it's good for me to just be over there looking at like with the video having to hit pause so I don't see all these comments in the chat. My goodness. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here. That was something. And we will do it. Oh, don't encourage him.
See,
and
I
we'll
got
do it
fans.
again. Just because they're laughing with this one time does not make it what is happening to another monster.
They were laughing repeatedly throughout.
Yeah, that
the
doesn't make them
stream.
fans. Yeah. And one, like you don't even know if it's like specifically like you're all you're doing right now is like laugh coding.
Do you want to try that again?
No,
Or
it's different.
That was a good joke and I stand by it.
Yeah, I was helping you and you cut me off, you prick, mother.
Oh, and here's proof.
You're just encouraging him. It's just gonna get worse.
I want you to know it's over.
Oh man, do you think Curly Bill was queer coded? Never saw him with a woman.